Welcome, YouTube family. Twitch family will be with you in 1 second. Want to say hello to the folks on YouTube very quickly here, and we're going to get this show right down to business. No messing around. What's up, Twitch? What's up, YouTube? Tonight, I want, and I'll mention this a couple times as the audience is filtering in, but the focus for tonight is going to very much be I want to take you all through what it's like to have a real no nonsense coaching session with me. Okay, so we're going to focus all of tonight's call, if you will, and let me go ahead and turn this off so the room does not get incredibly hot. Oh, there it is. There we go. And you also will not hear the jet engine that is my PlayStation 4 running in the background. Now, as I was saying, I would very much like, hey, Raz, LOL, just got 3 notifications. You're on. Maybe I'm oversubscribed. Excellent. Thank you, Raz. So I want to take you all through what it's like to have a legitimate coaching call with me. So tonight, the topic is the topic and the title, but I want to get right into the Q&A, right, that I would typically be doing with most of you uh, if I were indeed working with you, right? Helping you to develop, whether it's learning self awareness, whether it's developing self confidence and self compassion, it's understanding how to move forward in your life in terms of career, education, relationships, right? All the things that really add up to make our lives what our lives are. So I want to talk very specifically tonight about, is your life stuck in neutral? Do you feel like right now where you are in life is stuck, right? Like you feel like you're not moving forward, you're putting in a ton of effort, but things just aren't going the way you want them to, right? So I'm going to share some things with you that are going to help you get unstuck. But to do that, we're going to have to take you through some questions and answers so that I can better understand your situation. All right, I saw the Illuminarch just sent a comment. He says, hey, brother, watching from home. Excellent, man. I'm glad you made it back home. YouTube gave no, yeah, YouTube's weird, man. It's actually not weird. So YouTube and Facebook actually have some similarities in their algorithm in that YouTube is only, YouTube's stance is very much, what have you done for me lately, right? So if I have not gotten you to watch one of my videos out of however many videos I've produced in the past, it's going to stop showing you stuff. Same thing with Facebook. Like if you don't like my post or you don't comment on my post over time, or you don't at least click on it to see it, over time Facebook is going to assume that you don't want to see it. It's going to stop showing it to you. YouTube runs very similarly, right? I control YouTube as a consumer of content, and that I will purposefully click on things I want it to show me more of, right? So I do a lot of my learning on YouTube. I listen to things like Joe Rogan. I listen to things like Earl Nightingale. I listen to people like Tony Robbins, bunch of different things, right? And so I will continue getting fed and fed more and more of that, right? But like I said, the only thing that's going to be really different than most people that have worked with me in a coaching or a facilitation environment is that you're not going to be able to ask me questions that I can hear and respond to me like on a call, because we do calls for that. But when I started working on getting my health squared away, I had told my clients that, I'm getting out of that business. I'm going to focus 100% on getting healthy. And that eventually I would get back to doing real life coaching, where I host seminars and things like that in real life. So that's the only thing that's going to be different, is that you're going to have to type your questions and answers versus being able to say them to me. But rest assured, my goal tonight is to give you the most possible, the most value I can possibly give you as a person, to help you get to where you want to go, and hopefully put you in a position where you feel it would be beneficial to you to get even more value from me in some other way, right? And so I believe that everyone that comes on these calls, like if you think about everybody that's here right now, which right now in this moment is roughly about 13 people, right? It'll grow over the course of this call. I believe the people, those of you that keep showing up and keep showing up and keep showing up, there's something very different about all of you. than a regular just person watching, stopping by to watch one of my videos. There's something different that makes you give up a Friday doing fun stuff to come and hang out with me. Now I get it. I'm a somewhat captivating person, right? I talk about some pretty provocative things, and I definitely give knowledge and information that you're not really always going to get somewhere else. Right, so there are things that set me apart, but you're still giving up a Friday to come hang with me, and I believe that that's right about you. Then there's some other assumptions that I can make, that you're a diligent person, you're a conscientious person. You believe that we all have a requirement, we all have an obligation to live a life of meaning, so that we can give back to the world in a way that's valuable to them. Right, paying things forward that are given to us. I believe that you are people who make decisions and don't drag your feet. I believe you're people that show mutual respect. Right. I believe you guys are the ones that leave me reviews on my podcast. I ask for it every time. And it's funny, I was talking about that on the podcast you'll hear tomorrow. When I shot it, I said, I always ask people, and I was telling the audience, I'm going to do something different today. I'm not going to ask you to subscribe or rate it, because I always ask for it, and about 1% of the population actually do it. Everyone else just kind of like, that would be nice, but it's like I'm literally telling the audience, if I'm going to give you hours and hours and hours of this value, right, then I think it's fair to have an expectation that you would show me love back in some way, right? Especially in a way that doesn't cost you anything but 30 seconds of your life. But interestingly enough, people get busy, and I empathize with that. I understand people got stuff going on, and I hate stupid apps that ask you to rate it in the middle of you using it just as much as anybody, right? So I respect that people are busy and got other things to do. Also respect that a number of you listen to the podcast on my website, so there's no way to rate it. Right. But the point there is, I think you are different. I think you all are the ones that go onto iTunes in your free time and rate it 5 stars and leave me a review. All right. I believe you're people who want change, but more importantly, you are willing to put in the work necessary and to bring in the help necessary to get you to the change, no matter what it costs you. Right. And I'm not talking about money. I mean, it could be money, but I'm saying you're willing to put in whatever it takes to get to where you want to go. Right. And I know these things because in life, we always attract people to us that share some part of us. Right. I attract go-getters like that because I am one. I also attract people that have mental health challenges because I have them. Right. So that's what I believe about you all. And I want to maximize the time that you're going to spend with me here tonight, or if you're watching this after the fact. I want to maximize the amount of time you spend here with the most valuable information I can give you based on your situation. Now, that also requires that you give me input with the questions, with what I'm going to be asking you. I can only give you answers as good as the information you feed me with. All right. Otherwise, it's just going to be generic advice, and I don't want to waste your time with that. So let's take some comments very quickly here. Then I'll get into the series of things that I want to talk with you all about, and then we'll start having the back and forth dialogue. All right. And then I'll let you guys go be on your way. I'll go eat my evening after workout snack, and maybe maybe I'll finish Arcania's Platinum Trophy tonight on the stream, on a Twitch stream after party. All right. Let's see. Aqua Sakura says, Bryant Chambers, good day, Bryant. Happy Memorial Day weekend. Thank you very much. Bless you. Raz says, I can't review you on Google because they are lame, but I am subscribed to your podcast. I didn't know that. That's actually really good to know. I didn't know Google didn't let you give ratings. And really, the ratings matter the most on iTunes anyway. So, their algorithm kind of cares about that. Raz says, you just helped me realize something, and I know you didn't mean to, but thanks. You're welcome. I don't know what I helped you realize, but awesome. Let's see. Squally says, hi, officially stuck in life here. Good. We're going to start you on the path of getting unstuck. And if Twitch or YouTube hear me calling out names that are not in the chat, you're like, who is he talking to? I have Twitch and YouTube going on at the same time. If you wonder why I'm looking at 2 different places. Right? Okay, now... Lou Manark says, one sexy beard. Taj Baloo says, first time watching a live stream. I usually watch your videos after the live stream is over. Love your videos. Excellent. Thank you so much, Taj. I really appreciate that. Taj says, thanks. This title really is where I'm at now in life, and I'm only 20. Oh, that's awesome. Glad to hear that. We're going to have a fun time talking to you younger folks. And I say younger folks like I'm an old dude. Not that old. But 20 is a very interesting age to me to feel like you're stuck. We're going to give you some tools to help you overcome that, right? So like I said, if you're just tuning in, this is what you're going to hear tonight is going to be very much like what you would experience if I were coaching you in one of my private coaching programs. Not like 69 Pillars, not like the Confidence, Unbreakable Confidence course, or even my, some of the Social Media Master University is me coaching other people. So you've gotten a taste there. But specifically my private coaching program where I'm working one-on-one with a small group of people. And by one-on-one, I mean I'm working with each person individually, and we keep the group small. The only difference is obviously you can't talk to me because you're not on a call, you're typing, but we're going to do the best we can with the technology that's afforded to us. All right. So Squally says exactly, you're only 20. Let's see. Taj says exactly, 20-year-olds now aren't at the place I'm at now, though, mentally. Knowing I could be better and not knowing how to get there without guidance sucks. So we're going to give you some guidance. I'm also going to equip you tonight with some tools and additional things that can help you. I mentioned my 69 Pillars of Success course. That's a great place to start. It's absolutely free too. All right. Raz says, tell Lou Manark I'm praying for him. He is one strong and inspiring dude. Isn't he though? That dude, I love that dude, man. And me and the Lou Manark go way back to, Jesus, was that the 2014 YouTube days, homie? Back when I was still doing games and entertainment. Anyway, let's talk about it. Now, the question in the title was, do you feel like you're at a point, does your life feel stuck? Do you feel like your life is stuck in neutral? Right? If so, if you're one of the people here like Squally and Taj Blue who've said, yes, I feel like I'm stuck, I would like you as succinctly as you possibly can. If you can't do it short, then type several paragraphs. I want you to explain to me why you feel stuck. I'm going to give you some time to do that. In the meantime, I will talk you through a couple of different things. But I'd like you to type out as briefly as you can. Why do you feel stuck? Right? Let's start there and then we'll go down the progression. All right. Now, Taj had also mentioned that this title is really where I'm at now in life, and I'm only 20. So one of the things I can say is part of the reason why you younger folks, you teens and early 20 folks feel stuck is because you all grew up at the end of, you guys grew up as a system and an institution that had been in place for the better part of almost 100 years was dying and really coming to death, right? So for example, there are people that have been told for God knows how many decades, almost a century, that it makes sense to go to college, get a good job, meaning lawyer, doctor, accountant, finance guy, right? Go to college and get these jobs. But what you younger guys figured out, and even some of you in your younger 30s, you figured out that you went and got all that stuff. And then, like I tell you the story about the attorney who went to law school, passed the bar, and was, I don't know what he's doing now. This was a couple years ago, but he was working at Dairy Queen after that because he couldn't find work. You know, these law firms didn't have room for him. And there's no real way to grow and progress in those law firms because the partners are the partners. Right? They only have room for so many partners to split the profits with. So it's very much a situation where people felt stuck because your parents your whole life told you have to do these things, but then you're living in the generation where those things don't work anymore the way they used to, right? They still do work, but not as great. You know, my father that raised me, right, getting his degree in 1953 was quite a bit different than when I got mine, right? So, you know, when I get my degree after the year 2000 and my dad got his in 53, you can imagine a lot more. Now, granted, he also grew up in segregation, so he was facing challenges that I don't face. So some things were better for me. But for the most part, opportunities for college graduates are continuing to shrink because there's more and more college graduates. All right, so that's one of the reasons why a lot of you feel the way you feel. Squally says, okay, briefly, you just got fired from a good paying yet uninspiring job. I know about good paying, uninspiring jobs, believe me. You work part-time now and make diddly squat. Your savings are running out, and you don't want to go back to another good paying crap job. Okay, so that's your situation. Help me understand. Um, so let me ask you for some more context here. Is your part-time job not paying the bills? Let's start there, and then we'll have like I said, I'm going to take you through a conversation here where I help you guys with these things. Okay. So walk me through, is your current part-time job not paying your bills? Is that why your savings is getting depleted? Um, Lou Manark says you had less than 2,000 subscribers when we first met. Yeah, I thought it was way back when, man. That's awesome. Nadia says, I think she meant to say, I don't know whether being a translator, an interpreter, or an illustrator slash artist. That's what is keeping me stuck. I have skill for both, but I don't know what path to take. Love that statement. Got something really special that's going to help you out here in a second. Ann says, reading Rich Dad Poor Dad. Cool. Squally says, part-time job is not paying the bills. Yes. Okay. Excellent, Squally. So you used to have a great job, or you used to have a great paying job. Let's call it that, but you hated the work, right? That job you got laid off from. Now you're in a job that, whether you like it or not, I have no idea, but it's not paying your bills. Your concern is you need the money, but you don't want to have to sell your soul to go get that money. All right, so I want you to list for me 10. I want you to write out 10 of them in the comment section. 10 plausible solutions that fix that problem. Now, I do not care whether or not you believe these 10 solutions are delusional. Now, don't be crazy. Obviously, win the lottery should not be one of them, right? But what are 10, or let me make it easy on you. Write down 5 plausible solutions that fix both your money problem and the fact that you want to enjoy the work that you're doing. Write out 5 of those and then we'll continue talking. Nadia says, well, let's go to Twitch and then we'll come back to YouTube. Raz says, we were all raised in a misleading system. We can choose to follow it, but it's just as hard as setting yourself apart. If I'm going to fight for survival, I'm going to choose to fight a fight I believe in, not a fight others believe in. It's a good point. Now, I agree with you that the system is misleading, but it's not intentionally so. When my father that raised me, which by blood is my grandfather, right? When he went to college and got a degree, had he been a white male, the sky would have been the limit for him, right? And even as a black male, that college degree set him apart hugely from his contemporaries, right? So my point is, there was a time where the go to college and then get a good job model actually worked and wasn't misleading. It was a time where America was experimenting with this very Greek philosophy of retirement, which I think is ridiculous. But they thought retirement was a thing. And so you were going to go somewhere, work for 30 years, and eventually quit and go sit on a beach. That worked probably up until about the 1980s. Hello, sir. How may I serve you?
I want to know how long we could play on the Xbox.
Oh, but speaking of which, I need you guys listening out for a knock at the door. Okay? G and G are going to be coming here to spend the night because their mommy had a baby. So if you hear a knock at the door, Xavier needs to know and make sure it's them before he lets them in. Okay? Don't worry about playtime. Just enjoy yourselves until I come downstairs. Okay? Okay, buddy?
Yeah.
Okay, I love you. Thank you. That's a good question. Okay. So there was a time where the go to college and get a good job made sense, right? My father didn't have I want to do something I believe in. He's just like, I got to feed these kids, Jack. Right? He had a kid while he was in college, dang near. And so as a result, in fact, I think their first child was when he was still in college, getting ready to go into the army. But the point is, there was a time where people could retire up until about, and I might have my dates wrong, but up until the 1980s, you could live on your retirement. Now people they retire and then they go get another job that they retire from, and then they finally get their bills paid. Right? So it's misleading, but it's not like it was like a conspiracy the way a lot of people try to frame it, at least in my opinion. It was just very much, listen, we had a good thing going, right? There's a lot of people who retired in the 1960s who were living large because they didn't travel. Housing expenses weren't off the charts crazy like they are now. thanks to inflation and all these things that happen as a result of the way we run our consumer-based economy. So, very much so. And I agree with your sentiment. I'm not trying to take away anything from what you're saying. I just want to be clear that as I'm reading her statement, what we feel like or what we think about some of the words. Let's see. Free to be me, free to be Melissa says, thanks for all the inspo. Is that short for inspiration? I can't keep up. First found you on YouTube after typing ENTJ, my MBTI result. Missing that playlist of yours, by the way. P.S. Did you say link me if it's elsewhere? No, I took it off of YouTube. Some of it's still on Facebook, though. I didn't take it down on Facebook because I don't have the same problems on Facebook that I did with YouTube and that content. Glad I just tuned in here, too. Good stuff. God bless you, bro. God bless you, Melissa. Okay, coming back to YouTube. All right. So Taj Baloo says, I feel stuck because you're at a job you really dislike. You failed the first year of college because it wasn't for you. You became self-aware of who you are and what you want to do with your life. And I know I have a sense of deeper purpose. Okay, so Taj Baloo, help me understand, who are you? Let's start there. Since you had this revelation, this awakening of who you are, and I believe you're tying that to why you dislike your job. Tell me who you are. Let's see. Samar wrote something and then retracted it. Squally said, 1, move home and sell personal projects. 2, create portfolio and move to Cali for dream job. 3, work multiple part-time jobs and sell a personal project. 4, try to find a job you enjoy in the area. 5, work on dream project and become a millionaire. Okay, so let's take 5 off the list because that's too ambiguous. It's too arbitrary and generic. So let's take off 5 and look at these 4. You can try to find a job you enjoy in the area, but that also pays you properly. Okay, that's one solution. 3 was work multiple part-time jobs and sell personal project. Okay. Create a portfolio and move to Cali. Move home and sell. Okay, so all of these are plausible solutions. Taking 5 off the list, which is the one you'd want to do most? All right, let's start there. Now, the Jackson X says, I feel like I'm missing out on so much because of your anxiety. You just graduated from university, so I assume you're either Canadian or British, because you all say university and we say college. And you feel like you haven't been able to progress as much as you would have liked to because of it. Okay. Let's see. You feel like you're missing out on so much because of your anxiety. You just graduated from uni and you feel like you haven't been able to make progress. Okay. So what are you doing right now to deal with your anxiety? Let's start there. What are you doing right now today to deal with the anxiety? So if the anxiety is the root cause of you not being able to make progress and you feeling stuck, what are you doing about the anxiety? Squally says, you don't want to do 3, which was work multiple part-time jobs. Not surprised. But it's the best out of the 4. Why is that okay, so let's deal with one issue at a time. What is the one you want to do the most? Let's see. Eshelec Design says you want 1, finish graphic design portfolio and get hired. 2, oh, he's taking the advice I gave Squally. Cool. Start your own graphic design business. Taj says, I see myself helping people. My nieces and nephews are growing up without their father. You help them in ways you wish you had that help and guidance growing up to benefit them. Okay, so you're a person that wants to help other people. Now, admittedly, you can probably help other people in any job. So I'm guessing the way you're helping people in the job you dislike it's not like a vision or a mission that you believe in. Okay, so you failed your first year of college, wasn't for you. But failing your first year of college and realizing it's not your thing, that's actually good news, because now you don't need to waste money and 3 more years of your life doing something that's not probably going to give you a good return on your investment. So if that's the case, and keep in mind, guys, I'm saying all these things without really knowing you that well. So take nothing I'm saying as gospel. Okay, with the people that I coach, I spend months getting to know them, so I'm able to give them quite a bit more accurate, targeted advice. And I am totally letting Twitch down because our soundtrack just went off. Let me get a new one pulled up, and here we go. All right, there we go. All right, let's go back to Twitch here and back to the chats. And if I get lost in the comments, friends, it's going to be okay to repost. All right, so where are we? So we're on Squally. You want to work on your personal project and publish it, but it doesn't pay the bills. So you would want to work part-time to pay the bills to be okay. So it sounds like getting more part-time jobs and working on your personal, so spending 80% of your time making the money you need to survive, and then spending 20% of your time working on your passion project. Sounds like that would work for you. It would give you a chance to build your project, right? Buy Shocks, thank you for the follow on Twitch. And then spend 80% of your time making enough money. And then what happens eventually, what you'll see is everyone that does that, what we call a side hustle, what ends up happening is the 80 and the 20 begin to change, right? So if it's 80 right now doing part-time work and the 20 over here is doing your passion project, eventually as your passion project gets down the road and starts to actually make you money, you can shrink and shrink and shrink the part-time stuff until eventually this becomes the thing. So it sounds to me like you're not stuck. You just need to start taking massive action to make those things happen. So the real question I have for you is, what is stopping you from taking the action that it seems like it took us? What, we're technically 15 minutes into this talk and you've already got a solution mapped out, right? What's stopping you from taking the action to get that done? Because it sounds like you're not stuck. It sounds like you're just not taking action because you may be depressed about what's happening to you. And that's okay, right? That happens. But we have to work through that so that we can get to where we want to go. All right. So Eshelek says, it's Chris A from Face. Hey, Chris, what's happening, man? Compose music for video games, compose music for Netflix shows. Austin says, I'm 14. I play bluegrass banjo, which is awesome. And I've gotten further into the business than I thought I would. I have supportive parents, but is it my purpose? I enjoy it a lot. Can you help me? Well, the is it your purpose is probably going to take more time experiencing it than you will have experienced at 14, right? Chances are we don't know. I thought my purpose when I was 19 was going to be being an evangelist that traveled around the world, teaching scripture, right? Like I had some ideas for some pretty off the wall ministry stuff. But then the military came into the picture, and I knew by the time I was 17 that I didn't want to really work for someone else. I knew I wasn't going to be good at that. And I was in college at 17, so that's where I started to have that revelation. But, I also got experience working in churches where I was like, maybe that's, but it came through experience, right? So my advice to you at 14 is you're already way ahead of the game. Keep doing what you're doing to see if you still love it at 16. And then if you do you still love it at 18? But while you're getting deeper and deeper into that, because I like you having deep domain expertise in something, I really do like that. I'd like you to try a few other things as your 20%. Right? I want you to, I don't know, try skateboarding or, try starting an Amazon business, whatever the thing is. Use 20% of your time to experiment with other things that you think you may like. And the good news is, by experimenting with those things, you're going to get feedback that tells you, yes, I like this. No, I don't like that. Yes, I'm good at this. No, I'm not good at this. Right? So at 14, the biggest thing I need you to realize, which is different from what I would tell a 25 or older person, the biggest thing I need you to realize is, dude, you're going to be on Earth like 80 more years. Be cool. It's going to be all right. You got plenty of time to figure that out. So my biggest advice to you at 14 is enjoy the ride. Your purpose will manifest itself as you get experience. right? Rarely do most humans I know have what we call a burning bush event, right? So if you read the Bible, Moses gets his vision for setting the Israelites free from Egypt through a burning bush. Maybe he was burning some bush, I don't know. But God speaks to him through a burning, fiery plant. Most of us don't have that experience where God just shows up and says, okay, listen, you're going to do these 8 things for the rest of your life. Go. Most of it for us is a little bit of trial and error and figuring it out. And there's a lot of joy that comes with that. Right? Most people take figuring out that they're bad at something as failure. It's like, no, that's get excited. Now you know one less thing you need to mess with. Right. So my biggest advice to you right now is enjoy the ride and experiment. All right, let's get back to it. Let's go back to Twitch. Um, let's see. Melissa says thanks, and yes, inspo is short for inspiration. Raz says I know it wasn't intentionally misleading because it once worked. The adjustment to things that work now has been slow and left the generation. Yeah. No, I know you knew. I wanted to say that for the everyone on the call since I was reading your statement. I just wanted to make it clear. Melissa says LMK is let me know too. Okay, yeah, let me know if it's elsewhere. Oh, that makes sense. The internet's weird because like I'm old enough to remember when people typed acronyms as all capitals. Now we don't because we're lazy because we're on Instagram. And not lazy, we're just used to not screwing with punctuation and grammar. So I probably would have picked up on it better if it was in all caps, but now I know. Thank you. Melissa says, sounds like that 14-year-old has a gift on his hands. Good advice. Yeah, it sounds like it to me too. It's exciting. All right. Anne says, are we helping people feel unstuck? We're going to help people start to get unstuck. Absolutely. The Jackson Act says, I don't really know how to deal with my anxiety. I try to force myself to do more. Yeah, don't do that. Go out more. But I have such a hard time opening up to people. And that gets in the way of a lot of. So we have to get to the root of what causes anxiety, right? And there's a number of root causes. For example, if you don't get enough sleep, that's going to exacerbate anxiety. If you are not eating properly, right? For example, if you're waking up in the morning and eating a ton of sugar, bad idea because you're going to get an insulin spike, which is going to be followed by an adrenaline spike to clean up the insulin after it stores the sugar as fat. That's going to make you feel groggy and almost like if I eat sugar late at night, it almost feels like an alcohol hangover in the morning, right? So I can't eat a bunch of sugar at night. But that's going to exacerbate the anxiety. Then it's getting to the root cause of are you living in an environment where there's a lot of anxiety because of the way you're being treated or things that are happening to you, right? Then once you can identify that, it's okay. Can you go talk to a professional to walk through either giving you tools to deal with, manage, or eliminate the anxiety? Which I have anxiety too, so I have found tools to help me deal with it, right? But you need that. Like just trying harder and forcing yourself, that's not going to help you just get over the anxiety if you don't fix what's going on in here that's causing the anxiety. The anxiety is not there because you're not taking action. The anxiety is there because of the way you perceive things that are happening to you. So you need someone to walk you through how to wire this properly. And for some people, it's so severe that medication is necessary. Um, my doctor did recommend that I take some over-the-counter medications that you can buy. I have not been prescribed, thankfully, any medication that I have to have a prescription to use. At least not for anxiety. I have other issues, but you got to figure out what the tools are that are going to make it work for you, right? You got to have that. All right. Yeah, Raz, what's happening is YouTube cuts you off at a certain number of characters. It cuts you off, so you got to send it and then type another one. It's weird. I don't get it. I've long since given up trying to figure out why Google does what it does with YouTube, or why YouTube does what it does. Um, Kodor says, I have a problem. I want to tell my parents a secret that will probably change our relationship forever, for the bad. Okay, that sounds challenging. I'm sure you're dealing with a lot of anxiety because of that. Are you sure that, and I don't know you or your parents, so I'd ask, are you sure it's going to change the relationship for the bad? The Jackson Act says, also, thank you so much for everything you're doing. I only discovered you recently because of your INFP videos, and you've given me so much motivation. Glad to hear that, Jax. God bless you, man. I assume you're a man. Squally says, is that an original Xbox in the back? Yes, it is. With an original Sega Genesis next to it, and then a Wii U behind that, and then a PlayStation 3 just off camera. The original PlayStation 3 that plays PlayStation 2 games. All right. Austin Helpfulfinger says, okay, thank you so much. Love your content. Yeah, really thank you, man. Thank you so much. And good luck, dude. I think you're going to, whatever you decide to do, like, I wish YouTube had existed when I was 14. First of all, I would have been the first PewDiePie. Not even exaggerating. I used to do the comedy videos that people got famous for on YouTube back in the 1990s when I was a young dude, right? If YouTube had existed when me and my best friend, like the comedy sketches, because I used to be able to do a Steve Urkel impression when Steve Urkel was cool, and I even had my hair cut like him. We would have been like, we would literally have, well, not on Comedy Central because I wouldn't want to be a part of that machine, but we would definitely have a show on Netflix right now. We would definitely be very, very wealthy entertainers. And I say that kind of jokingly, but for you, like, you're at 14 and you figured this out, man. Oh, you were going to be blessed that you're here to learn from all these people on this channel. Because if you guys haven't picked up, like, all these channels, all these things I do on social media are dedicated to helping, you're going to hear this on my podcast tomorrow, helping speed up cognitive evolution. Because I think we're at a place in our evolution where we can we can be an active participant in not just making ourselves more intelligent or smarter, but making ourselves more wise, realizing that we don't have to behave like the fearful animals that we are at our core, that we've evolved out of. And a lot of that starts with what's going on between our ears here and being able to control it and being aware of the biases that we have, being aware of the mental weaknesses and shortcomings that we have so that we can address them and deal with them. Right? And so you being here at 14, you're a part of a community of people who are dedicated to that, sharing great information, right? All right. So back to the comments. Taj says, you see yourself growing into the best person you can ever be. A year ago, you weren't the same person you are today. You're an ENFP, if that helps in any way trying to get to know me. Okay. I mean, it can help, sure. Sounds like our guests are here. So you process information intuitively and you make decisions based on people. That's pretty much, when it comes to the Myers-Briggs stuff, I only really care about the temperaments. You know, all the cognitive functions and stuff is cool, but people deal with way too much. There's two issues other than the Barnum effect, which is people are more likely to believe a personality test if it's quote unquote tailored to them specifically. That's one cognitive bias. Second cognitive bias is the certainty bias, and then the commitment consistency bias. And those three things working together create this Lollapalooza effect where it's, you know, we read the cognitive functions and they have to be true. I mean, I can pick the cognitive functions apart. You know, if you look at them for me, like, that isn't true, that isn't true. That could be true, but not always. Like, a lot of the stuff is very much more generic than it's made to sound because Myers-Briggs is written as if they're talking to you. And they use storytelling, which causes the brain to go into a passive, almost subconscious state. That's why so many public speakers and coaches and people that do seminars tell stories. That's not on accident. That's why everything on television is about telling a story. Right. So what I care about is more what Jung focused on, you know, the scientist that came up with what eventually became the Myers-Briggs, and it's the temperaments, right? I would imagine that you prefer to process information intuitively and you make decisions based on how it's going to impact people, more so than just the outcomes, which is where the T would come into place. All right. So Escalec says your biggest fear, hang-up obstacle is that you were trained to draw and paint in the traditional manner. Photoshop lends itself to that. Corel Painter lends itself to that too. Though your skills aren't tight enough, in Corel, but Illustrator is different. It's different hand motions, tools, input methodologies. I'm so much better at it than I was. I've been practicing. Okay, cool. Practicing it for 12 years, but I still fear that employers will have a short patience for someone taught to draw traditionally and primarily thinks in that manner. I'm worried that they will perceive me as, let me find the next one, too slow or old hat in my ways. I am a really decent artist and I'm afraid my skills are going to waste because of this. Brian, thanks for everything you do. Your videos give me so much encouragement. So let me give you a little bit more encouragement. Okay? First and foremost, you have a lot of, and I have a whole lesson on this in my private coaching program. Raz slash Alyssa can attest to this, right? You have a lot of limiting beliefs. You have already basically decided that you are going to be a mediocre artist who everybody devalues because you think you're focusing on all these negative possibilities. When I can tell you that good businesses do not think like that. Now, there's a ton of crappy businesses that do. So, yes, there are people out there in the world who think like you, right? Or think like what you wrote here. Like, I can't hire this guy because he doesn't blah, right? In my opinion and in my experience, the best businesses hire people who can grow into the jobs that they're doing. In other words, I would rather hire someone who's loyal, smart, diligent, and conscientious, works really, really hard, even if they lacked. And I've hired people, and I want to say in every case where I've made this choice, it was a good hire, right? You might have less skill than someone else coming in, but if you have all those other qualities, first of all, can I get? I have not hired people simply because I knew I wouldn't get along with them. Period. Their skills could have been off the chart. There was this one guy I interviewed years ago. This would have been like 2000. I don't remember. I was interviewing for a position in my company, or not in my company, in the company that I was helping run. And the first thing out of the dude's mouth in the interview made me. I had already decided I don't need to see his resume. Don't. I let the vice president and the other people making the hiring decision ask all the questions because I had already made up my mind. I can't work with this dude. He already showed his hand that he's going to have an issue working with me. Why? Because I was probably 15 years younger than him. But he didn't know that I spilled blood to get to where I got, right? That I sacrificed a lot of things in my younger life to get into a leadership role like that. One that I was a little bit immature for. Admittedly, I could have been better. But like I said, I was hired by a smart person who knew I could grow into it. There's been many times where I have not hired the most qualified person on paper because I either couldn't get along with them or knew they didn't have the right temperament and mindset for the work we were going to be doing. So here's what I can tell you. Despite all of your concerns about blah, 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 which isn't even real, by the way, I've never worked with a designer. Dude, you have to remember, if I'm hiring a Photoshop Illustrator professional, I'm assuming that you're certainly better at it than I am, right? So let's start there. No matter how bad you think you are at Adobe Illustrator, guarantee you're better than me. So let's start there. Secondly, even if you were lacking a little bit on like you're getting up to speed on the technology, which, dude, is fixable if you just spend a couple hours a night getting better. That's a fixable problem. And while you're fixing it, there's probably smart people that'll hire you if you have all those other facets that I just talked about squared away. Loyalty, conscientiousness, diligence, willingness to come in and learn and work and get better, and you can get along with everybody in the office. That was the best thing a person ever taught me before I started hiring people. Was I was trying to get a job and my recruiter taught me, he said, listen, or my headhunter, he was like, look, dude, 75% of the decision is whether or not they like you. And you have a really good personality, so just play off of that. But then there's some people who don't like my personality because I come across as I interviewed for a job at AOL back in the day, and I could tell the guy that was interviewing was insecure, and he didn't do well with other like strong-minded men who clearly were not pushovers. Like I could sense his insecurity about me in the room. because he even got a little bit condescending with me in some of the questions he was asking, which let me know I don't need to work for this dude, because at some point I'm probably going to punch him in his mouth if he talks to me like this. Not really. I've literally never punched anybody in the mouth for disrespecting me. I'm always being figurative when I say that. You have to say that on the internet. Well, my point to you, Escalec, is there's a lot of smart business owners that are going to say, let's hire someone that can grow into the position that has all these other qualities, because inevitably they'll get amazing at the thing, and you're already probably way better than you think you are. So don't, because here's where you're going to run into problems. You're going to go into the interview carrying that thought and those emotions, and people are going to be able to feel it subconsciously. You're going to give it off. You're going to give off a lack of confidence and a lack of enthusiasm, which is going to make you not hireable, which is way more important than how you learn to draw. I don't even know the difference between the two. I assumed that the person I hired to do a lot of my Illustrator work knew how to use it. And all I knew is when the Illustrator stuff came in, it was awesome. I didn't get into all those details, right? I had seen some of their work. I was pleased with it. So that's the way you got to think about it. And by the way, what was I talking about where you bring feelings into the room that other people can feel? Have you ever heard the phrase, you were in a room where you could cut the tension with a knife? Friends, we are electromagnetic beings. We give off what we're feeling. To animals, we give off pheromones and smells with what we feel. Humans are no different. We just don't have the receptors to pick it up as easily. We think it's intuition, and what it really is pattern recognition, which is what I believe intuition is. It's an evolved form of pattern recognition. All right. Anyway, enough about that. Hopefully that helps you out, Escalade. Squally says, yes, you've been depressed about your situation and feel like if you take on multiple jobs, Rushu, thank you for the follow on Twitch, you're just going to burn out and veg out when you get home. You keep trying to find a normal way to do this. So, but first of all, you don't know that that's going to happen. And if you get the multiple jobs and it does happen, good. Then you have feedback analysis that proved your hypothesis. Now adjust your behaviors accordingly. You guys have to get into the mindset that nothing you're doing in life is permanent or forever. We live in a continuum, y'all. You don't just make a decision and then your life is set for the rest of your life. Right? If this is something you want to experiment with, do it. And then if it works poorly like you think it might, adjust. Right? Or come up with a better solution. What's up, Jim? How you living, man? Kodor says, yes, it will make it bad because the secret is not acceptable in many levels. Okay. I feel you on that. Ann says, have you heard of the 4 tendencies? Yes. I'm blanking at the moment on what it was, though. But yes, I have heard of it, but I'm blanking on what it is for some reason. I take in way too much information. Aquasakura says, sorry I could not keep what I am about to share short, but it's the best I can do. Okay, back to Twitch. I guess for my case, the reason I am stuck is due to a matter. There's a part of me that still feel not as independent confident to move forward fully. The progress I've made so far is joining a volunteer corps that is aligned with my interests and that I want to do in life. Earning an associate's degree despite not passing my class in order to move on to a 4-year university, and earning a driver's license so I can begin to take myself to certain places. However, I still have some ways to go, as do we all. Plus, I'm currently working out how to make my social life active because right now simply going to work and coming home almost every weekday is so mundane that it's tiring for me. And getting a clear picture of what my lifestyle is going to be like, because up until now, it's been, I have an idea, but not a clear picture. I came to the realization that instead of primarily pursuing a career like it's the end-all be-all, I should have been working towards building my personal lifestyle. Where's the rest of it? Looks like it cut him off. What's up, Jim? Good to see you on Twitch, too. He's double dipping. Melissa says, wisdom is key for sure. MBTI studies have been helpful for me lately. Took it 12 years ago, and just this past month, got the same result. Hadn't thought about it much since first taking it. Taking it all with a grain of salt, which is healthy with any personality test. but helpful info for sure. I now know why my mom gets bored with me and why my sister gets annoyed with me. Cool. Third May says, will you have the capability to have audio conversations with listeners? I'm considering that. I've experimented with that and nobody's ever called in when I've done it. I'm thinking about doing it, like having a section of my, because I'm going to broadcast my podcast live here on Twitch. Sorry, YouTube. And I may have like a segment, because it's all going to be timed, right? I may have a segment where I let callers call in to ask questions. So I've experimented with doing live calls like this and letting people Zoom call me. But every time I've done it, people have called in, but then they don't say anything. They just kind of lurk, which I'm like, okay, I don't need to manage 6 different things on 2 different screens if they're not going to take advantage of it. That said, I'm glad you brought this up, Jim. Update. So I've been putting together a lot of our content planning for going forward once I come off this hiatus. Twitch, what you're basically going to see me do going forward, rather than these kind of ad hoc shows where I just show up on your feed. Sundays at 6 p.m. is when we're going to be doing our live podcast. I do not know exactly when that will start. All right, I've got some news for you YouTube folks too. Good news in terms of making content in the future. So on Twitch, my podcast, my high quality podcast, because I'm still doing a podcast every day where I record it on my phone, but we're going to do one high quality podcast per week that we shoot the video for. We stream it on Twitch and record it. We're going to broadcast that at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sundays. So that'll be coming in the not too distant future. And my Twitch streams, where I'm either gaming, doing a live, so I'll be doing mostly live calls like this, but once a month I'll probably do some gaming, right? That'll be on Thursday nights at 9 p.m. All right, so that'll either be once a month me playing whatever game I'm playing with the audience, or it'll be a call like this, these just chatting talks, right? Then I'll also pepper in my Collector versus Wild once a month. It'll probably be ad hoc. I don't know which day it'll be on. But my Collector versus Wild is where I share with the community kind of one of my very few hobbies besides working out and building things is collecting video games and playing them, I guess. Right? So I'll be documenting my collection because I'm going for full collections of all these different systems. Like I want a full boxed collection of NES games, which is insane. I'm working and I have other people helping me out in the wild trying to find stuff cheap because I could go on eBay and just buy it all, but I don't want to waste money like that. I think that's wasteful when I could deploy that money to helping other people. So that'll be coming to Twitch. YouTube, you will get an edited version of the podcast uploaded after the fact, however long it takes my editor to do it once we get there. But I'm also considering doing another show for veteran-owned businesses where I review their businesses based on the 3 Ps, right? The 3 Ps of business: people, process, and product, right? So I'll be doing, for example, I just got a hookup from a beard care specialist, right? Who's a veteran-owned business, so they're going to send me some product. They're going to give me a discount on some product to buy it, and I'm going to use it. I'm going to review it after I've used it, right? So I'll be doing that as a product review. I'll also be doing process, so I'll be looking at the marketing and sales and how they build their websites, SEO strategies, right? Their processes, at least the ones that I can see. And then I'll be doing people as well. I'll be interviewing some of these people, and that'll be coming to YouTube as well in the future. So it'll be much more of a business-focused show, which is what my YouTube channel was always meant to be focused on, which was helping freelancers and entrepreneurs kind of find their way. It just turned into the Myers-Briggs marathon because that's what people kept watching. And I was like, no, there's other stuff. And then people wouldn't watch the other stuff. So I was like, all right, stop, regroup. We'll figure it out. But it'll be very helpful for those of you who want to be freelancers or start businesses. All right, let's see. Let's see. Jim said, cool. Melissa says, heard. LOL. That's definitely an ENTJ thing, I think. Punch him in the mouth. Figuratively, of course. I don't know if that's an ENTJ thing, but sure. It's actually very much an Army thing. I wasn't saying things like that before I joined the Army. We have a very sadistic and dark sense of humor. A lot of combatants that I know. Raz says my cousin has made good money on the side playing the piano. LOL. He can't even read music, but it's just that great at knowing. And yeah, that's awesome. Just Dill says, you say 9 p.m., but that depends. So I said 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, my friend. Everything I do is so just make the assumption if I'm talking about a time, friends, it's my time. It's Eastern Standard Time. Thank you for pointing that out, Dill. Oh, and then Raz said it before I had to. All right, back to YouTube. Woo, lots of comments. I need to catch up. You guys are going faster than I can read. Jack says, I'm not a man, actually. Okay, I stand corrected. Exercising regularly has definitely helped me feel better. Over the counter stuff has helped me for a while too. I've been meaning to try therapy, but it's so expensive. Also, I'm not a man, actually. Yeah. So, any way that you can go talk to a therapist, I recommend it for every human soul, even people who are just generally mentally healthy. Totally would do that. Imani Watkins says, hello. Hello, Imani. Austin says, don't mean to take up your time. I've been interested in becoming a photographer, but now how well could I do with INTPS, INTPA personality if I'm remembering I have no idea how that's going to personally affect you as a photographer. I think you'll find a lot of YouTubers will try to break down cognitive functions. Listen, go try photography and see if you like it. And if you really like it a lot and you make money at it, you'll probably stick with it, regardless of what your personality type is. Like I think a lot of people when you approach the Myers Briggs, like you're basically way so many people approach Myers Briggs the way you approach school, which was find the cheat sheet for the test so that you can take the test with your like typing formulas into your TI-80 calculator when those were a thing. I know I'm old. But my point is, you're looking for the solution to the test before you take the test. Just go take the test and get the feedback. Right? Go try photography, see if you like it, regardless of your personality type. I mean, anybody that answers that question with anything, like I'm talking to you, let's say for the first time in life, anybody that answers that question with "I really don't know" is either lying to you or they're just trying to sound really smart. Like I wouldn't give you specific advice without knowing more about you. I'd ask you how much photography have you done and how much do you like it, and are you actually good at it? Because if you really like it, chances are you're willing to put in the work to get good at it, even if you're not. MJMBK says, what do you think it requires to achieve true mastery on a subject? Sup, Brian? 10 years of 10 years of working in it. You will be master level at anything if you spent 10 years doing it. Well, 10 years doing it the right way and learning from other people who are further ahead than you. All right. Let's see. Escalate says, thanks, Brian. Yes, I work on these skills most nights. It really helps me to know that you don't think these are such limitations. Well, the point, Escalate, is yes, in some scenario that will be a limitation, but it's not the limitation, right? Different people will hire. If you, for example, if you lived in San Diego right now, and let's reverse it. Let's say you were the most talented graphic designer on the planet in San, and this actually happened to a friend of mine. You have a billion years of experience. You're the best person on the market. You got all the skills in your skill set. Homeboy didn't get hired because some kid that had maybe 1/50th of his talent would take less than half of the pay they were going to pay my friend. So there's all kinds of different factors that play into it. But you're looking at it as if that one shortcoming you have is going to be the thing that stops you. It's not. It's just not. My name, Martha. Thank you for the follow on Twitch. Bless you. Welcome to the movement. Taj Baloo says, so I'm at the point of taking that leap of faith and creating my own business at 20. Work for myself, evolve, and grow intellectually and spiritually. Cool. Get after it. Best way to learn how to start a business is to start a business. Believe it or not. Now, granted, I would work with people who know what they're doing that can kind of show you the ropes. and mentor you through some of the mistakes so you don't have to make them. The main guy 112 with the follow on Twitch. Thank you so much. Um, yeah, I would surround yourself with other smart people who've been doing it a long time so you can learn from their mistakes instead of yours. But when it comes to business, there's no teacher better than doing it yourself. And says, I have many Instagram accounts just so no one can take my name. Do you think it's okay to have many even though I don't post on them from a business perspective? Well, I can't really give you an answer because I don't know. I mean, is your only if your only goal is to keep people from taking your name, then sure. But your question about whether or not you should or should not do something should be tied back to some goal that you have, right? If your only goal for doing that is a bunch of people can't take your name, yeah, nothing wrong with that. And heck, maybe someone will want one of them and pay you for it. Austin Heffelfinger, sorry I'm late, Bryant. Good to see you. Good to see you. Adnan Khalifa says, bro, good. Whatever is in your time zone. Really nice to hear your voice again. Nice to hear you. Nice to see your voice. Amina says, your videos are very informative, Bryant. Awesome. Thank you. Kodor says, do you know any philosophers who trade the answer to the stuck question? That trade the answer? I'm not sure I understand your question. Let's see. Adnan says, I have a big problem that keeps me stuck from moving on. I need to organize myself, but I always fail. I have wasted so much time of my life because I don't organize myself. And even if I do, I don't. All right. I want you to write down what I'm about to say to you because you just rattled off a bunch of limiting beliefs and you're getting results based on what you're saying because it's what you think and what you think is affecting your behavior. Everything that comes out of a person's mouth betrays what they think and believe. And I can pretty much predict based on what you think and believe, what your actions are, what you're leading to you not getting the results you want. Escalec says, okay, thank you. My pleasure. So, Adnan, let me know when you're ready to write. Imani Watkins says, recently turned 20 and been struggling with a lot of mental health issues and genetic disorder that causes a lot of pain. But I'm still pushing, and Monday I'll be cold calling for my SMMA business. Sweet. Outstanding. Way to fight, Imani. I'm proud of you. Keep going. Dead serious about that. Keep going. Don't let... I just had this conversation with my son who has all kinds of... he has dyslexia. He has ADHD. He's got some challenges, right? And he was crying trying to get a project done tonight because it was really something that would for another kid would be way easier. And he's crying because he's like, Dad, I'm trying. And I said, I know you're trying. I said, but here's the good news, buddy. The fact that it's harder for you is a blessing from God. And he's like, what? I said, because you have to work harder than your friends now, which means you're going to be stronger than them later. Thank God you have these challenges because you're overcoming obstacles that your friends aren't having to. So when life punches them, like life is punching you in the mouth right now, and you're strong enough to handle it and get over it. When your friends get punched in the mouth when they're 19, you're going to be like, what? That's easy. I had to get through having dyslexia and writing freaking reports. I'm like, dude, I said, I'm always going to have your back. Don't feel like if you did the best you could with your work and you get a C, like I'm going to be angry. I could care less. I just wanted to know that you put in I just want to know that you put in all the effort that you had to put in. Right? So my advice to you is keep pushing. I know it's hard, but you're going to be better for it. All right. Let's go back to Twitch. Melissa says, good intel, thanks. And thanks very much for your service. My uncle was a Vietnam vet. He was my dad's older brother, perhaps perpetuated the sadistic humor. Oh, yeah. Yeah, if you could hear the stuff, my dad was a Vietnam vet. My grandfather by blood, but he adopted me. He's my dad. He was a Vietnam vet. And the jokes we used, he's passed now. He passed away back in 2017. But we used to joke about him dying as he got older. Like, but just between me and, because my mom would be like, Brian, don't you dare. And he would be cracking up because it's just, when you've had to face death, it doesn't scare you anymore. You just don't fear it. When you've had to face it and you've beaten it, not that you're not afraid to leave Earth and see what this whole afterlife thing is actually like, right? There's some natural scaredness, but we used to joke about that. Like, we were at dinner one night with my dad, and he was beefing with my mom over something because that's what old people from the 1930s do. And he's just like, in this. I said, Dad, listen, man. And at the time, he had to have been like in his early 70s. This was quite a while ago. I said, dude, you're like 70 something. Do you really want to spend the last years of your life beefing with mom over dumb shit? I said, for real. I said, Dad, you're in the fourth quarter. It was a sports reference. You're in the fourth quarter of life. And he grabs me and says, come here, dude. I'm in overtime. Like, that was my dad, yo. That was why he was my guy. Because two guys who have been to war can come home and tell a joke about him dying. And I said, plus, Dad, will you hurry up and finish the game because you're holding up our insurance money? And he almost choked on his food because I made him laugh so bad. Like, I even made him laugh one day after he, the stroke that eventually led to him passing away. He basically couldn't move. We had to move him and bathe him. And so he's in the bed. And, I was giving him a hard time because I felt like he wasn't trying hard enough. Like, and I knew what was going on in his mind. I knew he was fighting. But I knew the warrior spirit in him would respond to, like, come on, man, stop bitching and get up. And I said, stop bitching, dude, and get up. And my dad looks at me, and because he started to lose his speech, he's like, Brian, exact words, so forgive my French, cover your kids' ears. He's like, Brian, why are you fucking with me, man? I said, because you can't get up and do nothing about it now. And he starts violently laughing. And that might have been like a month or two before he passed when we had that. That's just the fun, man. When you live through that type of trauma, you just realize what's actually important in life, and you don't get bent out of shape about all this stuff that this hypersensitive world is upset about. Like, I didn't use the right pronoun, or this word is offensive to this group. Like, Jesus Christ, guys, we're all in this together, right? How many of us actually meant you harm with the thing we said? Maybe like 3 psychopaths, and none of them are us. Whew. That's honestly why I haven't left social media. It's like, someone's got to be here speaking from a sane perspective. All right. Raz says, I thought you could speed read, exercise that skill, bro. Melissa says, my uncle was in the Army too, by the way. Sweet. Rushu says, what kind of books do you have on your shelf? All kinds of great books. Philosophy, history, science, self-improvement, professional development, leadership, biographies, autobiographies. Those are probably my least favorite. Aquasakura says, you are the voice of reason. I'm the voice of something. Well, 100 years from now, we'll figure out if I was the voice of reason or if I was just insane. Like, I'm not delusional or arrogant enough to believe that the stuff that comes out of my mouth in 500 years, and I can be like, this guy was retarded. What's wrong with him? Why was his audience? He reached 1 billion people? Why? He's the stupidest person. Like, we're going to be so much smarter by then. I hope that's not what happens. I hope they're like, yeah, that's still true. And I base it. None of my ideas are really original. I'm saying stuff to you guys that Aristotle was saying a long time ago. Yeah. Let's see. Melissa says, haha, awesome. I'm sure those were good times. I agree. I'm sure he and my uncle are having great combos on the other side. My uncle passed in 2015, my dad in 2011 of ALS. Oh, God bless you. Our faith in God for sure carried us through all that. Absolutely. Wow, right? That's so awesome. I'm so glad your dad kept his humor till the end. Priceless. Yeah, absolutely. I remember one time he fell in the shower on Thanksgiving. I had to go get him. This was before he had the really bad stroke that eventually, led to him passing. And I got him out of the shower. I got a towel on him. And he looks at me. He goes, B. And he said, my airborne training saved me. Knowing how to fall is really helpful. I said, that's cool. I said, anything else I can do for you? He's like, just listen, man. Listen. Listen. B, it's okay to get old. But don't get too old. That was my pops, man. Um, but they can stand by and point out what you don't see to help you win. Absolutely. Third Mace says, when's your next book? That's funny you asked that, Jim. I've actually been considering writing another book. But I feel like I want to wait until I've established my brand. I want to wait till I've established my brand to the point where I can tell millions of followers, hey, I dropped a book, everybody go buy it. Right? I just feel like I want to accomplish more things. I want to accomplish, like I'm accomplishing a ton of things that none of you guys hear about. Right? Because they're things that I'm doing in real life. A lot of it's not happening. It's not what you're seeing me do on social media. Right, so we're accomplishing a ton of things and helping a lot of people even outside of this context. And not just the people that I coach in my private online program. I mean, actually in real life. And I'm waiting until I build up enough social and emotional capital with the work that we're doing, that we've created a big enough following that when I drop a book, it's just going to have that much more weight and that much more respect and reputation. Like, oh, that dude has, 10 million followers across all these social media platforms. And mark my words, like I understand exactly how it's going to work. Like Facebook will get to 1 million followers first, easy. That'll be next year, maybe this year, depending on how some things pan out. Facebook will get to 1 million views. That'll spill. Oh, I'll use that to spill over into Instagram because my Instagram grows slow because I'm not a woman with fake butts and boobs doing squats and yoga pants, and I'm not a comedian as a dude, right? And I totally understand that I'm oversimplifying that, right? But it's Instagram will go slower because I'm not playing the dopamine game, right? I'm playing the sit down and I got something to say to you that's going to help your life. Those that are willing to listen will get to hear something. It's like there's a scripture in Proverbs that talks about wisdom is in the city crying out for people to listen. And only a few people choose that narrow path. And I realize I'm kind of fusing together two scriptures, but that's the point of that metaphor is wisdom is screaming from the rooftops and nobody's listening. And I'm not saying I am wisdom. I'm saying what I'm sharing is wisdom from people way wiser and older than me. And only a handful of people choose that path. Most people choose to be distracted and entertained. And I'm going to tell you guys something right now because you keep coming on these calls and I think you deserve to know this. All these successful people you see on the internet with their lives and their Lamborghinis and stuff, let me be real clear with you. The ones that aren't bullshit artists, right, and I'm not going to name any names, but the ones that are for real value education way more than, even though they're entertaining you, they value education way more than entertainment, which is why I've chosen not to go let's go rent a Lamborghini and I'm not picking on the Lamborghini people. I get that some people actually like the cars and want to do that. But that's not what I need. I don't care about any of that. I care about saying things that I know, at least for right now today, are either the truth or my truth until I get better information. All right, so anyone that disagrees with me, and there's been people that have kind of come at me for some things I've said, I said, listen, until I get better information, this is what I think, and I merit you for what you think. And I'm willing to listen. Maybe I'm wrong. Show me. Okay? But I'm screaming. So Instagram's going to take a little bit longer. Facebook will blow up first, then Instagram. The podcast will see steady growth. And that comes down to you guys. In tomorrow's podcast, you're going to hear me asking it. It's coming out at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to know when it's coming, it's already scheduled. It's going to ask you at the end. I hope you make it to the end. I hope you actually binge listen because that's what it's made for, is just in those down times of your life, just listen. Just let it play into your subconscious. Fall asleep to my podcast. It's a great time. If you don't have time during the day, like you don't drive a lot or have to commute, listen to my podcast when you go to sleep. I promise you, you'll start to see changes in your life, right? But it comes down to you guys. I need you to help me share it with as many people as you can. Now, the caveat to that is only share it with people who you know would like it. Don't do the, MLM network marketing thing where you tell all your friends and family, here, buy this program that I just bought into so you could be in my downline. That's not what I mean. Share it with people you know would get something out of it. So that's a very long answer to your question, Jim. I think I'm just going to wait until I've built that type of social capital before I write another book. And honestly, my podcast is a book. It's exactly what would be in the book, just not in any particular order. Like every podcast episode is a chapter in a book, essentially, if you think about it. So if you want what my next book, like most of you that follow all the stuff I do are going to be bored with my next book because I heard all this. Like, of course you did. You stuck around and listened. Right? You were the one of few people who actually listened when wisdom was calling out in the streets. Helpful Finger says, not ghosting, just nothing to say yet. Working hard on the program, finding answers. Thanks. Yeah, no, that's not what I mean by ghosting. I think you might have heard me give a rant about ghosting. Ghosting, what I call ghosting, is someone who will hit me up, be like, yo, B, fired up, G. I'm ready to get into your private coaching program. Yeah, tell me how to do it. And then I tell them how to do it, and then I never hear from them again, despite me following up. And usually it comes down to a couple things. I told them what the price was, and they're like, well, like they can't make that happen. Or some people just get cold feet, right? Or they don't really, most people walk away because they don't believe in themselves. Because the truth of the matter is, like, if I was selling the cure for AIDS and you had AIDS, you'd find a way to go get the money. It's as simple as that, right? And so my program, by the way, this is a quotable. You can put this, maybe I should get that, this program is the cure for AIDS. And then, like, how you have the social proof quotes, like, this program is the cure for AIDS, Tony Robbins, right? But yeah, I mean ghosting from the perspective of you hit me up and then I go through the process of sending you information and engaging with you, and then that person just never responds, which is weird to me, or was weird to me before the days when I was actually in sales, when I was in operations and running a business versus having to sell the product and the service. I had to get used to that. I had to get used to, I come from the military, dog. You don't just not answer people when they ask you a direct question. You just disappear. What? Or the excuse that I don't check my email every day. Yeah, all right. That's fine too. I was talking more about that, which I didn't have any beef with it. It was just an observation of the reality. Let's see. Melissa says, dopamine game. Heard. Impact is more valuable than image. It is, but it costs you a lot of views and a lot of follows. People want their dopamine, man. I found, too, that people outside the United States tend to follow me a lot more, especially on Facebook, because a lot of people are hungry for knowledge way more than they are the next episode of Game of Thrones. Because they're hungry because they don't have the prosperity that you all have. And so they're okay. Like, I have a guy from Africa who's like, yo, I'm saving up money every day to get in the program. Like, dude, feed your kids first. Feed your kids first. Right? I will still be here when your life gets right. But they're so hungry for change that they're willing to sacrifice for it. Right? So, there you go. Helpful Finger says, been listening to the podcast. Trying to catch up. Excellent. Jim says, gonna be good, B. Yes, it is. Absolutely gonna be good, man. Thank you for the confidence. Melissa says, ghosting equals rudeness. Yeah, in a sense. I do think it's kind of rude. But I don't get angry about it. Like, I don't know, maybe the guy got hit by a bus the day after I sent the email. Or the lady. But yeah, I got ghosted by somebody recently that was like, yo, I can't wait. As soon as I watched your video, I knew I needed to be in this program. I was like, great, let's talk about it. Crickets. It's like, because the next email, and I guarantee you with some, at least 50, I'm being conservative, 50% of the ghosting comes from the next email I sent also includes the price of the program. And people see that price and they're like, oh, I thought he was just going to spend another 30 hours with me for free like he does on YouTube and Twitch, as if my time is not valuable, which is ludicrous. But I respect that that's how people, because people get so much free from me, they think that's just all I do. And if anybody thinks that my time is not valuable just because it's free, anybody that mistakes the free time that I'm giving you for cheap time, you're going to miss out for sure. So yeah, it's rudeness, but it's also just, I don't think it's intentional rudeness. I honestly think for a person, let's say they do fall into the category where the price is too high. I respect that, right? Because that's hard. Like to email a dude you've never met before and you're going to divulge your financial situation to him, that's hard. That's really, really hard. And I don't fault them for that. I don't think it's rude. I think it's just hard to have that conversation. You don't know how to tell them, like, yo, I want to do this, but I can't. It's just not a good financial move right now. And some people have a little bit more ego when it comes to that. And I don't mean in a bad way, just that, like, I don't want to tell this dude that I can't afford it. You know, I've been that dude. I've been that dude in a sales meeting for a coaching program that I was hoping to sign up for that cost $20,000. Like, you think my stuff's expensive? You should see how much the people I paid to coach me charge. It's 20 G's. And they were doing the sale, and I did not have the money. And they were doing the whole responding to objections things you learn in sales. I had just almost lost a house. You know, I think, I don't remember how many kids I had at the time, but it was a bad financial situation for me, right? Business was kind of stagnant. Wasn't broke by any means, but it was stagnant. You know, I hadn't done a whole lot of business development. And I just told them, I said, look, I can't make it happen. They're like, dude, I know you can make it happen. I told the salesperson, I said, I will show you. I started pulling up my bank account to show them. Like, I will show you my bank account straight up, and you tell me. And they were like, no, no, no. By all means, we get it. You're good. Please don't show me your bank account. I said, I'm not trying to be an asshole. I just want you to know I'm not BSing you. I want to be in this program more than anything right now, but I just can't. It's not a wise decision for me to drop 20 G's when my family is in a tough spot. It just doesn't make sense. That money needs to go to other things. Right? So yeah, I get that I can have that conversation, but that still, even for me, it takes a lot of humble pie. And I had to force my ego into my stomach to say that to them. Because I didn't want to make up some BS answer. Like, it's not really the right time. Because as a salesperson, I know that's BS. It's you don't want to do it, or you don't have the money, or you don't really, what it comes down to when you tell a person no is I don't trust you. Right? I didn't trust that I was going to drop 20 G's and see a fast enough return on investment for me to spend that much money on a coaching program. The return on investment wouldn't be fast enough given the problems I was having. Right? That was the honest answer. And that's always the answer is I don't trust you. I'm not going to give you, my coaching program used to be $200. Now it's $600, right? It's $597. So I don't trust you with 600 bones, B. And that's okay. It means I have not earned your trust yet. That's on me, not you. So I don't think it's necessarily rudeness. I honestly believe I don't trust this guy enough to have this conversation with him. So I'd rather just, if he's a smart salesperson, he will fade away into the sunset and stop bothering me. He'll get the hint. I respect that. So rudeness, no. I just think it's passiveness, which is not my personality. Like I had a deal come my way that I had to turn down yesterday because what they were offering was for me to do content on YouTube, which I'm not doing. I needed to be honest because they were offering me a percentage of sales, right? To do basically a brand deal. And I said, I'm not doing YouTube content right now, so that's out. I said, and frankly, a lot of the stuff you sell, I sell too, so we have some conflict of interest here that I would need to figure out how to navigate before I sell something to my audience that I already create. Right? I basically be taking money out of my pocket to promote your product. And I told the guy that. Instead of ghosting him and being passive, he'll get the hint. I don't want him to get the hint because I know what it's like to be the salesperson on the other side who's wondering, is this person going to not give me their money? Are they going to let me have the opportunity to show them that I can help them if they just trust me? Right? So now, rudeness, no. Passiveness, yes. And passiveness is not a part of my personality. So that's what I mean by ghosting. Let's see. Raz says, haha, you never know re-ghosting. And true. Family first. Yeah, absolutely. Raz says, get in early and it's affordable for many. Yeah. I had already consumed most of your free content before I joined the Good Life Playbook program. Yeah, which is why I did it. I wanted people to see I'm going to give you a ton, quantity wise and quality wise, of free content so that any person who's, you know, daring enough and brave enough and ambitious enough to hand me money is like, well, Jesus, what's coming next? This dude already coached us on stuff people charge anywhere from $100 to $5,000 or $10,000 for in that 69 Pillars program. There's programs right now, I lie to you not, you could go pay $1,000 to $5,000 for, and all the content is in my 69 Pillars of Success. In those 70 videos, the content's all there. All the strategic content, the practical applications, it's all there. I mean, you can go pay $5,000. So I wanted people to be like, yo, what is this dude going to do on the other end if he's giving away this much stuff for free? So Raz is actually an example of my dream client. And now VIP and, you know, person that's partnered with our mission to save and change lives, right? That is my, Raz is the prototype of the people that I want to reach, right? So pro tip for you guys that want to own businesses, when you get a Raz, get very close with that person. And I don't mean for manipulative reasons. I mean, get close with them because they're going to teach you about yourself. And they're going to help you become way more successful while you're able to continue giving them value. And then a friendship gets born out of that. A partnership and a friendship gets born out of that. And that to me is my favorite experience when dealing with people who I'm working with, is when it leads to that friendship level. And now we're both doing work in the same field and maybe even supporting each other in some way. All right. Let's see. Melissa says, we appreciate your time here. Usually I'm busting my butt in some hospitality related field on Friday nights. I can dig that for sure. Friday nights are hard to give up. It's honestly why I do them, because I want to see who really wants to hear what I have to say. So I'll do it at Friday night at 9 o'clock. When you all should be out partying. It's like, okay, about 200 to 400 of you really care about not what I have to say, but you really care about getting something that's going to make your life better. And you can't imagine how much I respect every one of you for that. Even if you can't stay for the whole show, even if you're here for 5 minutes, you have no idea how much that means to me, because I can't put it into words. Melissa says, and you make a good point. Sometimes stuff is too expensive and folks don't know how to talk about it. Yeah, I totally understand that. I think it takes courage to actually discuss that. So kudos to you for that. I see your point. I'm not passive either. Raz says, oh, thanks, B. I hate that so many others beat around the bush, but don't actually give you anything in hopes of getting big money from you. Yep. Now we'll sniff those folks out. All right, let's get back to YouTube. I've been neglecting the YouTube comments. Not intentionally, just trying to... Puerto Rico's laughing at maybe like 3 psychopaths. All right, so YouTube. Adnan asks, everything coming from my mouth betrays my belief that I can get to what I want to do, right? Absolutely. The way you are talking betrays the way, and by betray, I don't mean like it's turning your back. I mean, when I say betray, I mean reveals. I need to be careful with my words sometimes, especially for those of you who are across the pond and maybe English is a second language. What you say reveals what's going on in here, and what's going on in here is driving action, right? So when people say negative things about themselves, like I had the conversation earlier with the designer, sorry, your name was hard to pronounce, so I'm having trouble remembering it. All those thoughts are leading to actions and postures and positions and emoting that's showing that they lack confidence. And nobody wants to hire someone that lacks confidence. They don't want to hire someone that's arrogant, but I certainly, if I ask you, can you do this job? I don't want you to be like, maybe. I'm probably okay at it. Well, not hiring the guy that thinks he's probably okay, right? Let's see, Anne says, well, I thought it would broaden my brand when it grows. Don't know if I can sell IG accounts. Sure you can. Sure you can. That does happen. People sell Reddit accounts. I had someone offer me a sale of a Reddit account. Lou Manark says, amen, brother. That's the power of hashtag overcome. Show you right. You thought it would broaden your brand. So it probably won't do anything to broaden your brand simply because there's not going to be any content there, right? Your brand is your reputation and your story, right? So if your brand is your reputation and story, you're not telling a story. It's not really going to help you with that. It's just going to, it sounds like you're trying to protect from other people taking names where people could possibly find you. So if it's just you don't want people to take those names, it's effective. As far as broadening your brand, unless you're planning at some point to produce content there, probably not going to help you with that. Imani says, what is your perspective on fear? It's the opposite of love. Usually someone who's riddled with fear lacks self-love, lacks people bringing love into their lives, and then lacks the ability, because you don't have the selfish needs taken care of, you lack the ability to give the love necessary to help eradicate some of that. There's an ancient scripture, and I believe it's 100% right, that says perfect love drives out fear. And I also believe, my perspective on fear is a great question. This actually came up in one of my therapy sessions this week, and I love the topic. Fear is the number one problem humans have right now, today, period. Fear is driving way too much of the behaviors that are happening in our world. Period. Do you think something like ISIS could exist if there weren't people living in fear? And we can call them psychopaths, we can call them extremists, but fear is driving that action. And one of the main missions of my life is to eradicate fear from your lives. That's why, listen to the titles I pick. It's all about things that scare you guys. And then I get to be your big brother that comes in and says, listen, you don't need to be afraid. I got your back. You go out there in the street, someone picks a fight, I'm going to show up and punch. I'm going to cave their nose into their face. So let's go. You're confident walking through the alley when you have me standing behind you. That's what I make this content to do. I love that question. Thank you for asking it. Jackson Axe says, could you recommend some good self-improvement books? I could. Make the question more specific. What would you like to improve in specifically? Generically, I'd recommend Managing Oneself by Peter Drucker and The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday. I'd also recommend The One Thing by Gary Keller. If you ask me some more specific topics you'd like me to cover, I'll get into books for that as well. Dark Star says, in hospice, my dad said he was going to haunt the IRS. Then he died on April 15th. More Army guy here. I love that. I love he's going to haunt the IRS. That's outstanding. Oh, man. And my heart goes out to you, Dark Star. I am living through what you are living through now, and I share a heart with you, man. I know that's hard. All I can tell you is it doesn't get easier, you just get stronger. That's it. At least from where I am today. Ann says, any tips on niching down and finding your audience and target market? Absolutely. So why don't you start by telling me what niche you believe you are in now, and then we'll take it from there. That's a great question. And this, by the way, the topic is feeling stuck. That gets a lot of businesses stuck. Even now, I'm still niching my business down even further than it was before. Codor says, accurate description of Instagram. That's a good point that Illumanarch brings up, is the niching down, finding your pond. My Social Media Master University definitely covers that, which you can totally have access to. SSOR, thank you for the follow on Twitch. God bless you. What do you guys think? You think we can get to 200 followers on Twitch tonight? You think we can bust 200? We're at 192 now. I think that's pretty cool, man. For someone that has no script on Twitch, we're getting followers by the caseload, man. Squally says there's like 6 Ty Lopez's out there now. 6 Ty Lopez's? You mean people copying what he's doing? Jackson Axe says, I'm going to listen to your podcast before going to bed tonight. Yes, you should. I think that's honestly the best time to listen to my stuff, is either when you first get up in the morning. Oh, by the way, guys, maybe I can test this on the air. I should be on Amazon now, and I'm about to test it with you guys. We're going to have us a fun time. See, you don't get this on other streams. You don't get this, man. You don't get me seeing, like, I'm going to see right now, am I on Amazon? So my mom gifted me this Echo Pod, right? Now, I don't know if it comes charged, but we're certainly going to give it the old college try, right? Okay, Jesus, I don't know how to turn this on, man. I'm already feeling old. Okay, so I guess maybe it doesn't run on charge. It just needs to be plugged in. So let's try that. Let's try to plug her in, guys. And I will still be taking your questions while I'm fooling around with this crap, so feel free. Let's see if plugging it in here works. See if that does anything. Nope. So I guess it does have to physically be plugged into a wall. No worries. I got that covered. What do you guys think about the soundtrack for tonight? Well, I can only ask Twitch that because YouTube, you're not hearing any music because YouTube is whack when I try to stream from my computer. All right, let's plug this sucker in. I almost said let's plug this hooker in. It's a word I use way too often. Ah, yes! All right, I'm just waiting for this thing to do whatever it is it's doing because I have no idea. What in the world was I talking about? Oh yeah, my podcast. My podcast. The best times to listen to my podcast is either right when you first wake up or when you're going to bed, because I'm building every.
Your Amazon Echo Dot is ready for setup.
Yes.
Just follow the instructions in your Alexa app.
I don't have an Alexa app. Alexa. Alexa. Okay, she's not listening. Alexa. Alexa, I'm not playing now. I can't get to my app, Alexa, because I'm on a YouTube stream. Alexa. Alexa, don't make me come in there. All right, Alexa's tripping. But the bottom line is, Melissa says, yeah, sucker is a much better word choice. But yeah, I don't say hooker around my I mean it as a pronoun, though. I don't mean like actual hookers. Like, I use it as a pronoun for inanimate object. I don't know why. I don't know where it comes from. Maybe I watched too many blaxploitation commercials when I was in college. All right, so what I was saying was my podcast should be on Alexa. If you guys have an Alexa device, I'd love for you to test it. Like, if you say, hey, Alexa, play the Bryant Chambers Movement podcast, see if it works. Because it should be on Amazon now. I got a message from them that they got it. And it should be in their little Amazon Alexa skills areas. For now, Alexa, I got to unplug you because you're listening to things. And I don't want you spying on me and selling me ads. I don't know why I'm talking to the device like it's listening in that, like it can understand that. Raz says you activated my Alexa. So Raz, yeah, please try and see. You just told her to, and she didn't find you. So it should be on TuneIn, I think is the app I'm using on Amazon. Play Bryant Chambers Movement. It told me it should have been in 24 hours. But yeah, so I'll be right on your Amazon devices at some point. Just Dilsa, since you like calming instrumental music, there is a song scientifically designed to be calming called Weightless by Macaroni Union. Okay, I'm going to look that up. That sounds like fun. Scientifically proven, that definitely catches my attention. There it is. I am definitely going to give that a listen later. Or I might do it tonight while I'm on the call. Matter of fact, nah, I can't do it because it'll get weird because it's on YouTube. Melissa's like, yeah, I got you, but still, I know I'm working on it, Melissa. I'm still crucifying my flesh, okay? I'm not quite Jesus yet. I'm working on it. Let's see. Helpful Finger says, thanks for making the music level low. I was afraid to try Twitch because of ADHD issues. I can pay attention. I'm very respectful of that because I don't know that I have ADHD. Maybe I do. I can't take crazy loud, like reality TV shows make me want to jump out a window because they use the music they use is way too psychologically engineered to create tension. It's just like, ah, I like it mellow. Yeah, so Raz says, sorry, B, I beat you. Aloy beat you to be in the next Jesus. That's true. She did. And she's a much better Jesus than I probably would have been because I probably would have let all the people in that place die. I would not have been a good Jesus in that place. All right, let's get back to YouTube a little bit. Escalect. That was the name I couldn't pronounce earlier. Adnan says, oh, let's see. All right, where am I in the chat situation? The Godfather says, why do you have those game systems on your desk? Because I play them. Sometimes here on Twitch. I am a game collector, believe it or not. So I got my work desk here, and then I've got my books and then my game systems around my books. I am a collector of games and gaming systems. All right. Adnan says, I believe this. Your free stuff are blessings in disguise. When you give some of your time for good means, you're not just wasting it, but you're cultivating it through your listeners and goodwill. Oh, yeah. And God will repay you for time you spent based on your intention. Please don't think your time is invaluable. You might get something much better than money. Guidance. Oh no, trust me, dude. God has already paid me 100-fold what I've given. Yeah, my time is very valuable, but that doesn't mean I don't lend my time. But remember, when I'm talking about value, I'm not just talking about money. I'm saying my time is extremely valuable. For example, I have children who are not playing with dad right now because I'm hanging out with you guys. There's value in that, right? I made a value decision to hang out with you guys instead of my kids. Now, granted, I spent several hours with my kids earlier today, so they're not neglected, but that's what I mean. I don't necessarily, when I'm talking about value, I'm not just talking about money. I'm saying because my time, I'm giving you my time for free, it doesn't mean that my time is cheap. Because when I say cheap, it has nothing to do with what I get out of it. I'm talking about what you get out of it. Jackson X says, joke's on you. My social life is practically non-existent. I don't go out partying anyways. Not surprising. I don't like going out and partying either. You attract people that are similar to you. 717 Manifesto says, where are you reading comments from? So I'm reading them from here on YouTube and on Twitch. Escalade says, Alexa app is the biggest pain in the ass ever. I don't know why it filtered that comment. I guess because you used the word ass. For God's sake, YouTube. Come on. There's no such thing as bad words, YouTube. Only bad intention. Can we establish that? I know a bunch of 100-year-olds just turned over in their grave. Like, boy, that cursing. Like, that's not what Jesus meant. He didn't mean the F word when he was talking about cursing. But you know that if you actually read the Bible, you claim to believe in. Anyway, I'll stop murmuring under my breath. Let's see. Ann says, well, one is 7-year-old who have entrepreneurial spirit, who has a schizophrenic father whose interests are many. She's multi-passionate. She is extrovert, introvert, struggles with math, and needs a tutor. Now, wait a minute. I had asked Ann for information about your niche. Is that your target person? Is a 7-year-old who has entrepreneurial spirit? Like, are you that specific with the people you're trying to reach? Dot Coffee with the follow. I appreciate you. Really appreciate that. It's so hilarious. Like when I do these shows on Twitch, I get tons of followers. When I do them on YouTube, I lose lots. Like it's funny. My subscribers are actually in the negative now on YouTube, and I couldn't be happier. Not because I wanted all those people to go, but I'm happy that they're getting the message that what I'm doing is not for them, and they're finding someone else who can meet their needs. Imani Watkins says, "Thank you for your response. That was incredible. I'm going to have to rewatch. You seriously touched a part of me that I've been battling with for months. It's been so bad. I even fear going outside." I can dig it. I can dig it. Please, please, if you can afford it, if you can make it happen, find a way to talk to a therapist. I don't make that recommendation lightly. Um, I don't. Um, I say that coming from a place of experience myself. Let's see. Um, oh, that's cool, Just Dill. Awesome. Melissa says, "Heard, brother." I like the fact that you say heard. That's so awesome. I'm stealing that. It's going to be part of my vocabulary now. I did say I work in hospitality. Reminds me why I need Jesus. I remind coworkers that they should be glad to go to church. Just Dill says, "Let me know what you think of the song when you get a chance. I hope you like it." Cool. Yeah, I hope I like it too. 8-minute version is the official, but there are 10-hour looped versions. Sweet. I'm always afraid that if I put that on before I go to bed, there's going to be like subliminal messages from the creator in it. Lou Manark says, "B, your cam for Twitch is high on the yellow." Yeah, I know. Um, I will have much better lighting. I can only control. It's a webcam, so there's only so much I can control in terms of the color balance. Um, it is actually the lighting in here that makes that tough. But that will be changing in the near future. We're going to get all... When I get into my new office where we'll be doing a lot of our filming from, it'll be professionally lit for the room so that everything looks sexy. But I mean, I made my brand based off like do-it-yourself, bootstrapping, duct taping, like duct taping the world together, making it look cheap. I don't like intentionally make it look unprofessional, but it's like I want people to see that you can build an audience and work and find you can reach people even though your stuff doesn't look like it's professionally filmed. Oh, that's awesome, Raz. So let me read what Raz just wrote on Twitch so the people on YouTube can hear it as well. She says, "By the way, if you are in any kind of schooling, the schools usually offer a free 5 therapy sessions if you want to get started and see how it works for you." That's awesome. I didn't know that. Uh, Thank you, ER. So staccato responses help. Cheers. Heard. Got it. It's like in the Army, we say Roger, right? So heard is like your version of Roger. I like that. I'm stealing it. Totally taking it. Not as sexy as your beard or as sexy as waffles, the sexy pancake. I still love that line, bro, when you said brought to you by waffles, the sexy pancake. Alton Brown turned over in his grave, though, even though he's not dead when you said that. Because if he heard that you were using pancake batter to make waffles, he'd come to your house and be very angry with you. It's a little Food Network nerdetry for you. All right, now back to YouTube. Dark Star says podcast addict finds the podcast. So let me also help you guys out with this podcast stuff. Here it is on my website. Nope, that is not it. Let me get the right link. Let me get here and here and here. So here is the link to the podcast you should be listening to. It's on iTunes. It's on Google. It's supposed to be on Alexa. I'll figure out why it's not here. Hopefully tonight. Make sure, because if you go to Google and iTunes and Spotify, it's there too. You're going to see two different podcasts from me. You're going to see one that has my picture, my face, with my library behind me, and you're going to see one that's just my Spartan Warrior helmet logo. The Spartan Warrior helmet logo is the one you want. The one with my face is the old one that neither one would just let me replace. It had to create a new podcast. Like, come on, guys, it is 2019. Jerry Hot Wheels says, hi, how are you doing? What should I do? My family is baby from the world as a disabled person. I'm not sure I understand that question. I feel like autocorrect made one of your words into something that you didn't intend. Alexandra Cruz says, Bryant, what up? What up, Alexandra? Good to see you. Jerry Hot Wheels says, I want to be a man. Cool. Amina says, I'm afraid of moving forward. Moving forward doing what? And Rochelle says, yes. Try outpatient care. They might have therapy. So yes to my question about, so your niche is a 7-year-old with an entrepreneurial spirit who has a schizophrenic father. That's a really, really, like, how do you niche that down any further? That's pretty specific. She's multi-passionate. She's extrovert, introvert, struggles. So I don't know that you need to niche that down any further, because that's pretty, like, she's 7, has an entrepreneurial spirit, and her father struggles with schizophrenia. I don't know that there's that many people in the world that are that. So that's pretty niche. I guess what I'm trying to figure out is what problem. Let's start with the problem you're trying to solve, since the who is a little bit confusing to me. What problem are you trying to solve for this young lady? Because it sounds like you might need to niche up, not down. Dude watches DIYs and how-to says, I downloaded Google Podcasts just to check you out. Sweet, I appreciate it. I hope you got a lot out of it. Imani says, any tips for young black women starting social media marketing agency business? I mean, I wouldn't give you any specific tips. Well, yeah, I can give you some tips based on the fact that you're black and a woman. Read the book, Compelling People. Start there. Understand how you are going to be perceived in the eyes of other people based on the fact that you are black and a woman. That book will help you do it. Right? Because everything's going to come down to, no matter what kind of business you're starting, SMMA, you know, that's really hot right now because Ty Lopez is helping people with that. Regardless of what type of business you're starting, you're going to have to be able to sell yourself to other people. And one of the things you have to understand to be able to do that is to be able to understand not only the problems you're trying to solve for the people and where they're coming from, but how they're going to perceive you. So, for example, I had a therapist actually teach me this. It was a lesson he learned from Magic Johnson. When I walk into a business meeting, I am almost always going to be bigger than the person I'm addressing. So for some people, that can be somewhat intimidating, right? Not everybody, but some people see a very large ethnic man come in who does, like, in my face, I don't look like I can't whoop somebody's ass, right? If people saw me in the street, they're like, I was going to whoop that dude's ass, but looks like I'd probably lose that one, right? So there's going to be automatic perceptions that he could be aggressive. He's also ethnic, kind of angry black man syndrome type stuff, right? So there are ways that I tone myself down. In fact, I can make myself smaller in a chair if I'm not trying to exude a lot of confidence, because I can tell reading the person's body language and energy that maybe they're getting kind of a, oh my God, this guy's going to cook me and eat me vibe. So I may adjust myself based on how I know people perceive me as a multi-ethnic, very large. I'm basically the size of an NFL linebacker, right? So when I walk into a room, I don't not take up space. And so knowing how people are going to perceive you will help you either accentuate the things that they perceive about you that are positive or adjust some of the things out that they may see as negative. Right? Like, so for the fact that you ask me, let me make some assumptions, right? If I was consulting you, the fact that you asked me and you included the fact that you are black and a woman leads me to believe that you've got some thoughts about how people perceive black people, right? You already have some things in your mind that people see black people a certain way, so I need to be mindful of that when I go into a meeting. And there is some truth to that. But it also means that you may be giving something off as a black person, the way you perceive yourself as a black person, that you may want to be aware of, because if it's not giving off something that makes them feel comfortable and safe and pleased by you, then you may want to adjust that, right? And your posture, your body language, the way that you talk, the intonation of your voice, right? Like I will sometimes, mirroring is a technique you learn when you start learning sales, and I will sometimes match somebody's tone of voice. Like I won't get real high pitched, but I may soften the way that I'm talking if I'm dealing with someone who's really soft spoken or seemingly more passive, rather than get in there, give me the money. Listen, this is what we're gonna do right now. Like that's not gonna work on a whole lot of people. It would work on me. Those are things that I would think about. But read the book. It's called, in fact, I got it right here. Imagine that. Here it is. Oh no, sorry. That's not it. Wrong book. Sorry, don't pay attention to that. This is a good book too, though. And you're running a marketing agency. Read this book too. Contagious by Jonah Berger. Why Things Catch On. It'd be really good to know what's in this book as a marketer. In fact, I can tell you what page you should read as soon as you open the book. Go straight to page 207 when you buy this, as long as it's this edition. All right, it's going to teach you basically. Here, I'll read part of it to you because I still want you to go get the book. Right, it's the formula for making viral content, which is something you're going to want to know if you're doing marketing campaigns for people. You're going to want to know how to make. One of my first posts when I made my Facebook fan page I think it finally went over 1 million, like not just views, but like engagement was crazy on it, because I understood the psychology of what I posted. It was totally, I played the dopamine game, but in a way that was also helpful for people because it forced them to use their brains, but in a way that was fun because it was a game. And that thing exploded with engagement. Got lots of follows off of that, lots of likes. And says, her problem is she wants to start her own business, an IG for Kids app. She doesn't know how. Okay, so if that's her problem, what are you creating that's going to solve that young lady's problem? Imani Watkins says yes. Yeah, so those 2 books will help you, and just learn everything you can. In fact, one of the bonus items in my private coaching program is a sales crash course. Highly recommend that you go through that course. Also get the book that I use to teach that course, which is The Little Red Book of Selling by Jeffrey Gitomer, who's the freaking man. In fact, it's the book right here above my head on YouTube. This red book right here above my head. So get those 3 books. Go through my sales course, which I will expound on what Jeffrey teaches and put it in. I add to it a lot of my own experiences to help flesh out some of the points that he makes. It's an amazing book. What's the first book again? First book again is called Compelling People. It'll teach you things like, it'll teach you game theory strategies. For example, if I as a quote unquote, let's say for the sake of argument, let's take my multi-ethnic background away and let's just assume I'm a black man, right? And I walk into a meeting with a white woman and we're both briefing. If she has an emotional, angry outburst, she is going to have less social capital with that room than I would if I had an angry outburst. Why? Because the human psyche, our psychology, doesn't like people to behave in a way that we don't perceive them to be. People kind of assume black dudes are angry. Slavery and a whole bunch of other crappy stuff that's happened to them. And there's a lot of people, even white folks, who believe that, well, they should be allowed some anger. They went through hell, right? So when the black guy gets angry, it's kind of like, oh, well, okay, let's talk about it. When the white lady gets angry, she's just, they immediately assume she's just the B word. and she loses social capital. Versus, not that the black guy doesn't lose social capital, but he loses less. And they studied this on people. Like, it's a straight up science book. It's really good. But it'll teach you a lot of those principles about how, as a black woman, you should consider strategically carrying yourself based on the scenario that you're in. So yeah, the first book was Compelling People. Don't remember the author. I think it's 2 authors. Contagious by Jonah Berger, and then the book above me, The Little Red Book of Sales. Right? The Little Red Book of Selling by Jeffrey Gitomer. Follow Jeffrey Gitomer on Twitter as well. He gives out a lot of really great stuff. See, Just Dill says, do you buy your books on sale or find a way to get them cheaper? I get my books primarily from Amazon. It's my go-to. Every once in a while, if I'm in Target with my wife for some ungodly reason, I'll go to the book section, because like my Jordan Peterson book, The 12 Principles of the Happy Life, or what's that book actually called? The 12 Rules for Life. I got his book at Target because it was on like some crazy something % off sale. I was like, well, I don't have, and I love hardback. Like, I prefer hardback books, which, believe it or not, weirdly enough, a lot of times on Amazon, the hardback is cheaper, because I read books like a child plays with a toy. Like, I get in there, I highlight stuff, I take notes. I'm hard on books, so I rip, like, you can see my Tony Robbins paperback here. The back of it's coming off. Like, I tear paperbacks apart, so I prefer hardback books. But I don't particularly look for sales. I treat books like food. Like, I want the best stuff. And like, but I will say, like, YouTube can't, actually nobody can see what I'm talking about here. But my most prized collection is the story of Story of Civilization by Will Durant, which is an 11-book series. I asked my mother to get that for Christmas, and she found a deal on Amazon, like an old hardback copy that was, because the new, like, that book series can cost you like $700. All right, so my mom found a cheaper used version of it. So, like, if I'm buying something that's that expensive, like if the book is $100 and some odd, like a textbook, sometimes I'll just get an older edition because it's cheaper. But by and large, if it's just a regular book, I just get it and I look for hardback. Jackson Axe says, it's already 3 a.m. for me, so going to pass out now. But thank you for today. I'll try to tune in for the next live stream. Awesome. So here's what I'll say before you go, Jackson Axe, and everybody else on YouTube, because eventually these YouTube streams are going to go away, and they're all going to be on Twitch. I recommend everybody that's still on this call, all 14 of you, if you're not already following me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Bryant Chambers, I'll type it. If you're not already have a Twitch account and are following me there, do it now. Not just so I can get to 200 followers tonight, but because Twitch is where this is going to be going down at. I'm slowly breaking away from doing this. I keep doing them on YouTube because I don't want to leave you guys behind. I want to let enough of you know that I believe Twitch is going to become the live streaming platform of the future. Amazon owns it now. To think that it's just going to be about gaming, I think is crazy. Because if you look at what Amazon's done, they started just selling books. Then what happened? Right? Now they sell everything. They sell groceries now, for God's sake. I believe Twitch is going to become the premier live streaming platform because YouTube dropped the effing ball. And I don't even think they dropped the ball. I just don't think they wanted the ball. Right? So these streams on YouTube are going to go away. Leave the stream now. Or if you're on your phone, go ahead and leave the stream. Go to Twitch, download the app. It takes 8 seconds to set up an account. It's stupid easy. Then follow me, because these live streams are going to Twitch. They're not going to be on YouTube anymore. And not because I'm, losing subscribers because of them, but just because it's more effective on Twitch. Blushing Cat followed. Thank you, Blushing Cat. Gamtaro says Amazon also has Whole Foods now. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They sell groceries. And says, a mini course. I'm learning to make one, but I don't know how to run a business. So, but before we get into making a mini course for our young lady, do you know the process to fund and create a successful app, right? Like, are you going to be teaching a course on something where you don't have some type of domain expertise, right? That's where I'd be very careful about trying to create a course for it. Like, unless you know how to create an app and can walk her through the process, and maybe you do. I'm not trying to make any assumptions about you at all. I just want to make sure that I'm helping you. If you don't know the process of making an app that's successful, that ends up either making them money or saving the world or whatever the thing is she wants to do, you'd be better served teaching her a course in something that you do have expertise on. So if you like, look at the stuff I teach on, right? A lot of it is like life strategy and leadership. That's my private life strategy and leadership for freelancers and entrepreneurs. That's what the Good Life Playbook is all about, right? It's about leading yourself first, becoming self-aware, developing deep domain expertise into who you are, what you stand for, your values, understanding that, understanding the limiting beliefs that keep you from going where you want to go, how to replace them with empowering beliefs, a deep dive even further into self-awareness and understanding who you are and what makes you tick, and then how to understand whether you're a freelancer or an entrepreneur or maybe even a laborer, right? So knowing which one of those you are, again, self-awareness helps you make better decisions in terms of where you go in terms of business, right? And then helping people from there decide, okay, well, what business are you actually in? What are you actually doing? What are the 4 P's of marketing? You can still see that on my whiteboard from the lesson I taught on that, right? So I'm particularly skilled to talk about all of those things, right? I have a confidence course. No one's going to doubt that I understand confidence at a very, deep level, right? And I don't mean just bravado. And like I always say, guys that try to project toughness are usually not very tough. They're usually very insecure, right? Because real tough guys they have no need to prove it to you. In fact, smart, tough guys don't want you to know they're tough. Gamataru, thank you for the follow on Twitch. So, yeah, I would say, and then I've got the course on, the social media marketing or social media masters university. Well, guys, I've been on social media since before the internet, since before this stuff was called social media, looking at human behavior, testing and running YouTube channels, testing and Facebook channels, doing it for other businesses, right? Even done it for nonprofits, people in the government. Like, I have experience doing it at every level, so I can talk about social media. Like, I don't have 1 million followers because I don't make content that garners 1 million people to pay attention to it, but I understand how to get people from A to Z when it comes to that stuff. And so I'm teaching things that I have a lot of deep domain expertise on. So you're definitely, if you're going to create a course, it needs to be around something that you're highly skilled in, that's going to help this. And obviously you're not marketing to the 7-year-old girl because she can't buy your course. You're going to have to market it to the mother in this case because the father has schizophrenia, which is a really interesting thing that you chose that. I can't imagine there's a lot of 7-year-old entrepreneurs, first of all, 7-year-old female entrepreneurs who also have a schizophrenic dad. I think like I applaud you for being very specific. That's a good thing, but I think you may have gone a little bit too specific, right? And she obviously can't afford your course. You're going to have to market it to the mother who's going to pay for the course because the dad has schizophrenia. So it gets to be very interesting in those terms. Let's see. Monty Watkins says, is marketing music different from marketing businesses? That's a great question. So tactics always change, but there's pretty much proven strategies. Okay? So, for example, I'm not going to be too worried if I'm helping, and I've helped quite a few musicians, right, and artists in general. I'm not going to be too bent out of shape if the musician that I'm coaching or running, their social media marketing, if they don't have a Pinterest account, not really going to be the end of the world, right? That's a tactic, but the strategies that make things work are the strategies that make things work, right? Like understanding your customer, that's always going to work. Understand who you are serving, and I don't mean just know a little bit about them, know everything about the person you're trying to serve, right? Know everything about the problem that person has. Know everything about how your skills can create a product or a service that solves that problem. Be able to talk about it in a way that gets attention and helps them understand how you are the solution. All those strategies are going to work for everything. Now, let me help you apply that to a musician, right? Musician needs to know the audience they're playing for, right? Like, I am nobody's target audience when it comes to music because I listen to everything. I used to be a musician. No one's making music targeted at me because I'm too broad, right? I love hip hop as much as I love heavy metal, right? How many black dudes are going around who also play music saying that, or multi-ethnic dudes, right? But, are you creating music are you creating hip hop? Are you creating rock? Are you creating pop music? And so the tactics you're going to use are probably going to change based upon what you're marketing and who you're marketing to. But the strategies that work are just the strategies that work, right? There's not really a whole lot of new strategies you're going to get. Now, there's new tactics, there's new ways to talk to people, new platforms. The trappings change, the strategies always stay the same. So in a sense, yeah, you probably would employ different strategies for musicians and businesses based upon what they're... Yes! Yes! Sorry, my family's being crazy. So, yeah. Like if I had a new musician who was just getting started, I'd say, okay, get to the point where you could get like 1,000 legit fans that hang on to your every word. Once you can get 100 to 1,000 people to show up to one of your shows, then we can start talking about, okay, we create a market for you in your local area, and then we figure out how to branch out from there. But that's no different than if I'm helping a small business get started. It's who is your small pond that you're going to be the big fish in, and then we're going to expand the pond. Those strategies are the same for the musician and for the business. Just the tactics you deploy are probably going to change for how you carry out. The what you do to make that strategy work is going to change. Daniel Lago says, you're really awesome. Such wise words. Well, thank you. The wisdom definitely doesn't come from me. I am just smart enough to know that I'm dumb enough that I need to read a lot of books. All right. Any last minute questions, guys, before I get up out of here and go eat my evening snack? And then I will be back on Twitch to play some games with you guys. I'm going to get a platinum trophy tonight on Arcania. Well, I don't know. I'm showing it to YouTube. On Arcania. I'll be back here to do that. By the way, guys that come to my Hangout streams, you're welcome to ask me questions there too. Even if it's like business or life strategy related. I'm okay with that. Like people are like, oh, I don't want to interrupt your stream. Like, dude, I'm streaming. I'm asking to be interrupted. Like if I didn't want to be interrupted, I wouldn't have streamed. Do I think Amazon will open a superstore? Yeah. Maybe. I could see it happening. Imani says, I'm the musician and I want to be the manager as well. Okay. I mean, there's a lot of people who do that successfully. Yeah, Raz, you're right. My computer went nuts, and I'm like, I'm done. I'm going to bed. So no, you guys did. I wouldn't. When it comes to doing platinum trophy runs, I wouldn't do it off camera. I just shut it down and went to bed. So yeah, I'll be back. All right, last minute questions, guys. Then I got to go check on kids. I got to eat, and then I'll be back probably around 11 o'clock for the after party Twitch stream. You guys are welcome to come hang out with me and listen to me cuss at video games. So for those of you that felt stuck when you got here, do you feel less stuck? Especially those of you that shared the specifics of what you're trying to do with me. Do you feel less stuck now? I imagine you probably do. And I will say that, let's see. Let's see. She subscribed to my channel because she needs a friend in her corner who's fun and mature. Okay. Now that I could see, like if you're building a course for how she develops as a person, as the entrepreneur, that's a lot like what I do. I could see that happening. Let's see. So if any of you, before I get up out of here, as you're asking the rest of your questions, feel free to continue bringing them in. Uh, Daniel says, I felt less stuck ever since I came to know your channel. That's a blessing, man. Wow, Imani, that's heavy. That is, wow. I'm glad I score in the, what is it? 89% of people in the world have more narcissism than me. I'm glad that's true. Because my head would be getting big right now, what you guys are talking about. And I think 98% of people have more Machiavellianism, and then 100% of people have more psychopathy, because I have none, thankfully. So if you guys got something good out of tonight, a couple of things. Get on the podcast. Follow me on Twitch. Get on the podcast. But if you'd like me to help you in a more tailored, specific way to map out your problems, my private coaching course is available. I'm no longer coaching live on there, but I do still add content. Right? I still actually, the students don't know, but they're getting ready to get a very heavy practical exercise next week, and it's going to take them. For some of them, it's going to take them a long time to do it. It's going to be a lot of work, but it's going to help them in their freelance and business careers immensely, because it's going to help them basically write the treasure map to where they're trying to go. That's one of the exercises we're going to be doing soon. If you'd like me to help you with that, I highly recommend getting into my my private coaching program. Now, it's not cheap. It's not for everybody. Please understand me. I don't want anybody mortgaging a house or anything like that. I mean, it's not that expensive. But it's not cheap, so it's not for everybody. If you are financially strapped, it's not for you right now. Don't do it, right? Because I need you to get out of financially strapped, because even if you joined it, it will help you greatly, but you're in a place where the other challenges of life are going to squelch out where you're trying to go, all right? I'd rather you address those issues. Now, granted, that in that same breath, the coaching program will help you get out of a lot of those places in life too. So you have to weigh it. But I don't want anybody, giving me money they were going to spend on diapers. Let's see. 2D4 says, can we talk about the epidemic of gold digging whores in this country? Well, I guess if I believed it was an epidemic, I'd have something to add to it. I don't know very many gold digging whores. I know a lot of really cool women. So yeah, if you'd like to get it, so let me ask this question here, so I can deal with you guys on a one-on-one basis, and I can expect your email. How many of you would like to have access to, and you can just say I in the comments, how many of you would like to have access to my private coaching program? Raz says, I'm glad I got in when I did. I told you when I joined that you had been sent by God. Wow, maybe you're closer to being the next Jesus than you know. I don't know if I want to be the next. I want to be the next John. He's the guy that doesn't die at the end of the story. Like, I'm not trying to get crucified for y'all. Like, can I be the next Jesus that doesn't have to do the getting crucified part? Tootie Four says the black guy doesn't die in this movie. Well, black guys don't die in a lot of movies, just horror movies. And horror movies are so fake, because the black guy would be the last dude dead, if at all. Because as soon as he hears the that's a wrap. He's out of there. Like, nope, nothing sounds like that. I don't need to be, let's go find out what that was. Nope. Nope. Not even going out there to figure it out. John did not die. He died on the Isle of Patmos, writing Revelation. And I think it was Patmos. He wrote Revelation and the last epistles. I mean, eventually, of course, he died. I'm saying he was not killed. He was not. I'm not talking about John the Baptist. I'm talking about John the Apostle. John the Baptist was beheaded. John the Apostle lived into old age. Okay. Monty Watkins says, "Are you religious?" That presumes that I know what you mean by religious. That'd be a very hard question to answer without knowing what you're talking about. Religious can mean a lot more, can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. Like if you're asking, do I believe in God? Yep. Do I believe in Jesus? Yep. Depends on what you mean. Do I go to church every Sunday? Nope. I'm holding church right now, or at least what church should have evolved into. And some churches have. Although my wife and I have talked about being more active in church for the sake of our kids, because they would get a lot of benefits out of the community. Although one of my kids went to preschool at the church I used to go to when I was a young buck. When I first started going to church on my own, because I didn't grow up in a church family. We were all heathens. Lovable heathens. But my son started going to preschool at the church I started going to when I started trying to learn more about God. Let's see. Aquasagra says, yes, this is like digital church. There may be something coming in the future that you guys are not aware of. All right, friends. That's it. Listen, if you do want to get access to my private program, there's one simple thing you got to do, and I do mean simple. Like, it does not get simpler than this. If you believe that I can serve you further and you do me honor of allowing me to, there it is, Twitch. Here it is, YouTube. Click on the link, and here's what will happen next. It'll ask you to request access. All requesting access does is shoot my system an email with your email address. You don't even have to use your name, because a lot of you use fake, emails like the light of Shalagar or whatever at gmail.com. I will shoot you an email that says, hey, listen, this is what we're going to do, because I want to qualify everybody before you join. So we're going to have a very short series of emails back and forth that just says, so requesting access does not, it has nothing to do with, obligating you to buy anything or any of that crap. It's just, listen, let's you and I have a conversation about how I might be able to help you. That's your opportunity. Once I email you, once you email me back and say, yeah, this sounds great to me, I'd like to get started. Then I email you back and say, okay, here's what will happen next if you're ready to get started. Do you have any questions? Then respond to that with any questions that you have. I'll answer every single one you have. And then we'll determine whether or not, and some people don't even ask questions, it's just like, let's go. We'll determine whether or not I think the program's a good fit for you. And if it is, sweet, we'll get you in there. All right, reminder, you have missed the giant sale. Like I said, guys, do not drag your feet. It was on sale for $197. It was 70% off the full price, which is $597. With the content that we'll be adding to it over the next several months, I eventually plan to raise the price to at least $997 at a minimum. So you're going to want to take action sooner rather than later. All right, I do that, one, to give you all access to something way cheaper than you can get it out on the market. But eventually I like it to be fair for me. Like I'm totally cool with it being unfair for me at first, but then we eventually make it fair. So the people that get in early get the biggest advantage. I will say, if you do go through emailing me, will you do me a favor when I send you all the emails, at the very least, if you decide while we're getting through the content, if it's not a good fit for you, just shoot me an email and let me know that. Because what I don't want to do is dedicate a lot of my very limited time to emailing you over and over again to make sure that I'm just not missing you, or maybe you didn't see the email. Just shoot me an email back and either let's get started or just let me know, hey, based on your answers to questions or whatever I saw, yeah, it's interesting, but I'm not interested. That way I know to just leave you alone, because I don't use your email to spam you with a bunch of other stuff. Every once in a while you'll get an email from me, like when I drop a podcast that I think is important, but it's not like, hey, let me spam you to death with all this other crap that you don't care about. All right, so anyway, I'm getting up out of here. Appreciate all of you for being here. Come join us on the stream on Twitch. Did we make it to 200 followers tonight? Let's see. We got close. We got to 195, which is better than nothing. It's way better than nothing. We did pretty good tonight. I think that's like, what was that, 12 followers? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, we got 10 new followers. That's awesome. Ooh, wait a minute. If we got 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ooh, that means we lost some followers. Uh-oh. That's all good, though. It's part of the game. All right, so let me just make this real clear to my buddy Tommy E here, if he's not a bot. Here's the deal. You're getting banned. So Tommy E just got banned. I don't know if it was a bot or if it was a real person, but let me be real clear. If you're going to make a vulgar joke, I'm totally cool with it. Just make it actually funny. Stupid ass jokes like that, come on, man. You got like, I'm insulted by how bad that joke was. Like, if you're gonna make a vulgar joke, please do it, but be funny. At least be funny. Don't come on my channel trying to do comedy and you suck. All right. Anyway, it's been a pleasure to serve you all. Thank you so much for being a part of this. Hopefully, I truly believe that some of you that came here feeling stuck probably feel a little bit less stuck. Let's see. I'm sorry you're offended. I'm not a bot. I have like 12 accounts as well. Okay. Interesting. I'm not offended at all. Just be better. Like, if you're going to waste our time reading that nonsense, make a good joke, dude. I'm glad you do have 19 accounts. If you're going to make a joke like that, like, I wasn't offended. It's like, dang, how could you tell a joke that bad? Like, how could you tell it? I don't mean bad as in terms of vulgar or dirty. I mean, it's a shitty joke. Like, make it actually funny, dude. You're going to make me read something, make me actually laugh. Be better. And I'm not going to ban your other accounts if this is really you. Cool. No worries. Be better. Anyway, friends, it has been a pleasure. Melissa says, haha, I agree, Brian, too much. Yeah, listen, man, I don't get offended by jokes. I like jokes. I like offensive jokes. I just don't like jokes that waste my time reading them that aren't funny. Like, that was some third, like my third grader. I don't have a third grader. Do I have a third grader? Makes funnier jokes than that. Come on, man. Work on your material and then come back to another stream. Anyway, always a pleasure, friends. I'll see the rest of you who decide to come to the after party on Twitch. We're going to play some Arcania. We're going to get the Platinum Trophy tonight. It's going to be a good time. You get to see me just let the hair down and not be so in coachy mode. Get to be in just hangout mode. Love to have you there. And yeah, like I said, interested in the programs, holler at them. If you're not, no worries. Just keep coming back. But reminder, this YouTube stuff is going away, so you're going to want to get on Twitch before too long. All right, let's see. Uh-oh, we got one more. Got you, Ann. Totally understand, Ann. Cool. All right, friends, be strong, stay strong.